Yeah, crying kids. Oh, you told them.
Yeah. I'm just gonna wait a few minutes, I said. So we will see. Commercial?
Mhm.
Okay, we should be live. Because if I get a commercial...
Het is eenzaam om de enige Nederlander in de chat te zijn. Dat zal toch wel niet?
It's not the only one. We have more Dutch people. So, hi everyone. I'm Kaylee. This is my sister, Melanie.
Hello.
And we have my brother-in-law, Dennis, but he's out of the screen because, I mean, a couch is only so big. So we don't always
You can.
Good evening, everybody.
the brother-in-law. So both my sister and my brother-in-law are paleontologists. And I thought, let's do a live stream. Let's hang out. I'm in Sweden at the moment. I'm not in the Netherlands. I do have good Wi-Fi. So this time, I won't fuck up.
We try.
At least we should be good in theory. And yeah, if you have any questions for either my sister or my brother-in-law, leave them in the chat. And yeah, let's have some fun. Shall we? Oh, they're both beautiful. Guys, y'all are both beautiful.
Oh, thanks.
And Hendrik likes your hair, because that's a TSCTH.
Oh, yeah.
That's Hendrik. It's my Danish friend.
Thank you.
And moderator. So yeah.
I would say taxamiket, but I know Danish is different.
It's different, yeah. So my nephew is trying to fall asleep.
Yeah.
But at least now he's not very, very extremely crying. He's just...
he's 1 year old.
Yeah.
So going to bed is I guess it's the same as for as adults, but we sort of struggle alone. So we think, oh, I don't want to go to bed. I don't want to go to bed. And then you just postpone and then you go to bed too late and you're tired.
Yeah.
But in the case of my baby, he just cries and screams as if being put to bed is the worst thing in the world.
The world's ending for him at the moment. Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, he'll sleep soon enough. He was almost gone just now. So.
Yeah, it'll be fine. So, I'm happy that everyone's here. I don't know how many people
look, I'm
we
being
have.
called Doppelkaylee.
I mean, that's not too bad.
No, I'm like 2.5 years older, so
yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm the youngest sister, and we have an older sister even, but she'll never be part of this channel.
No, I would say that I wouldn't even just call us introverts, but she's not.
Yeah.
Sorry, I wouldn't even call us extroverts, but she's definitely not an extrovert.
Yeah, she's very introverted, and she likes her shell and her bubble. Yeah. And that's alright. But thankfully I have one sister that is on.
I'm not shy. No.
Yeah, she's not shy. Okay, so what about the Dutch dinosaurs, or are we stuck with just mosasaurs?
I mean, to be fair, a mosasaur is even a lepidosaur, so it's not even an archosaur, so it's like really far away from dinosaurs. You have some stuff that's closer, marine reptiles like Sauropterygians, Nothosaurus, Placodes. You find them in Winterswijk. They're early middle Triassic, but that already says it. They're just too old, so they're... If we're really, really lucky, then maybe one day we'll find, I don't know, footprints of the oldest dinosaurs there, but that's not likely going to happen because that means that they have to be there in the first place, and I don't think, geographically speaking, they were in the Netherlands.
Yeah. We have Hendrik, his question's almost gone.
Ooh.
Paleontology question. What's your favorite synopsid?
Oh, well, in that case...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Dennis, yeah. Yeah, in that case, Dennis. Yeah. And Odin, yeah.
And for everyone
She's also
who
a nice
doesn't know,
synapsid.
for the people who don't know what it is.
A synapsid is ancestral to mammals, so mammals, pretty much.
Good. Poor people of the clay. Poor people of the clay.
But to get back to Erwin, there are some dinosaurs in the Netherlands, but they generally speaking get washed in through rivers, or there's even been some found in the North Sea that could have been used as shipping weights because they didn't know what they found and used it as shipping weights. But no, generally speaking, we don't find dinosaurs in the Netherlands. But you don't have to go that far. Germany has them. Yeah, and okay, we have birds, but we don't have many bird fossils.
Yeah. Okay.
Dennis is correcting me. Birds are dinosaurs, so
Yeah.
if you have a chicken, you have yourself a dinosaur.
See? What else do we have? Also, hi Ziggy. And let's see. What's currently the oldest?
Oh.
Sorry. What's currently the oldest piece of history that you have studied?
I would say the oldest is what I'm currently studying, which is roughly 350 million years old. Early tetrapods. So I'm studying the transition from fish to land animal. So yeah, that would be the oldest stuff. And I just got started on it, so I'm really like deep diving further in history. Because before this, I focused on the end Cretaceous and early Middle Triassic.
Cool.
And about the COVID restrictions, at the moment they're getting back on it because Sweden's also not looking too good, and there's been a lot of critique about the lack of measures in the past. So not sure yet what they'll do, but we've got the QR thing, which everybody already found out doesn't work.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
We'll see. And are we religious? No.
No, sorry.
No. I'm agnostic, so I am a believer of
I'm very
something.
sorry, Tony, that your kids called you a dinosaur.
Yeah. Oh,
Maybe
poor
just
Tony.
teach them a little bit of phylogeny, because you're not in that tree.
Tony is Netherlands. Like I said, we have more than one Dutch person here.
What do you think happened to ichthyosaurs in the Cretaceous periods? They are known not to survive the KT boundary. That's a really good question. I wish I had an answer. Could be something for a PhD, maybe. It's not that straightforward. Yeah. You're sure?
That's a hypothesis.
Oh, come on,
There
Dennis.
is a hypothesis.
Come on, Dennis.
Dennis.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a hypothesis. I can
Dennis.
say it, but...
There is a hypothesis that the mosasaurs outcompeted ichthyosaurs because they were both pelagic, meaning they lived in the open oceans, but they also developed a durophagous diet, meaning that they ate shells and they came closer to the shore. So that's one hypothesis about why the ichthyosaurs started their demise actually before the KPG boundary, and we find a lot of very cool and very awesome mosasaurs way up to the KPG boundary.
So there you have an answer, or a hypothesis to your question. If you discover a dinosaur, may I suggest naming it Henricus terribilis? Henrik.
Thank you for the suggestion. I will take it to heart.
It will be taken under consideration. My God. Yeah, Leon. Why?
Ultra high levels of radiation, I'm not sure, but there's been, so in the Hell Creek Formation and the Fort Union Formation in the United States, there are some radioactive materials in the rock naturally deposited there. And when something fossilized in there, these materials can absorb into the bones. So some of them can become radioactive, but they're not high levels. Your Geiger counter might go off, but they're not dangerous. Don't touch them. Don't be an idiot, but it's not like you stepped into Chernobyl.
So don't be an idiot. Idiot.
They found
Good.
fossils by using a Geiger counter.
Yeah, you can find fossils with a Geiger counter, but it's not like you're going to die from it.
Robert Pisor asks, Melanie, what first drew you into paleontology?
Well, I was always a bit of an outdoorsy kid, and in our local park, in like territory that has no fossils, I grew up like in clay. Where she actually lived. And then we had a local park, and every now and then they would replace the shell path. And they were just so pretty that I would just walk along the path and collect the shells. And then I became curious to what these shells were, and I started looking up in the library, I'm that old, what these shells were. And then the librarian helped me because I couldn't find them because they were fossils. And then I started to really go down the rabbit hole, and I'm still in there.
Also, Henrik says the beard is on point, very Viking. 10 out of 10.
Thank you so much.
Yes, so Henrik, good job. Good job.
Agreed.
So we have a question from Christian Roots. There was a dinosaur carved on an ancient Indian temple. What do you think?
Oh, I've not seen it. Have you seen it?
No, it's a stegosaur. That's
Oh,
the
it's a stegosaurus.
interpretation.
Stegosaurus.
It's an
I don't know if it's Indian though.
Is it Indian?
Uh,
Oh, Dennis is googling.
It's Google. What else? We can like skip to another. What is a dinosaur that the public isn't very aware of that you wish more people knew about?
A chicken?
So it's Mayan.
It's a Mayan
It's a
temple.
Mayan.
This is it.
It's a
It's the
Mayan
one on
temple.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I have seen this.
Yeah, I've seen it as well.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you think? Like,
It's
It's
a very beautiful mythical creature.
Yeah, it is a very beautiful mythical creature. I will say that there are often coincidences in ancient carvings or drawings or mythologies and local dinosaurs found. And it would not surprise me if the first people that found it, and I mean well before written history, thought that these were mythical creatures. So to make it come together, they drew out what they thought they looked like, and they weren't far off. But they described them as something they didn't know. They didn't study them. They didn't write down the findings. So nobody knew if they had indeed found fossils. But there's definitely a correlation between even like dragons that look like certain dinosaurs that were found, that later found in that region. And just imagine being, I don't know, an illiterate person making stone tools of stumbling upon a giant heap of massive bones. And I would draw a dragon.
yeah. Ja, same. Je hoeft niet alle vragen te beantwoorden.
No, but I like the fact that that I think it's Henrik already
Henrik,
said
yeah,
egg
but like-
came first. Yes,
Yes,
the
yes.
amniote egg. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Henrik is on point.
Yeah.
He's a moderator for a reason, you know.
Ah,
He's my
yeah,
friend.
yeah.
So he's very interested in this stuff.
Let me
Like-
see.
This not needed.
Yeah, Jonathan agrees with the hypothesis. Mosasaurs were diversifying. Yep. Exactly.
What do you guys think about the London hammer? Do I
Do
know?
we know about the London hammer?
I don't have a phone. My
I
sister
don't know
doesn't
about
have
the
a phone.
London hammer.
I'll be your.
Oh, Dennis is gonna Google.
Dennis is our Googler.
Find
the
out
evening.
what we think about it.
Yeah,
Normally I have like a computer that I can use, but like this one is.
Oh
currently
yes, of
set-
course. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Come on in.
So I recognize what this is about.
Ja, je kan gewoon
So
hier bij
for all
zitten.
the listeners and watchers, because it's 2021, so the London hammer is indeed a hammer, which is actually the head of the hammer as well as part of the wooden handle that appears to be inside a rock. But what people don't realize is that what looks like a rock is not always a rock. So I'm not claiming I know the definitive answer, but you should realize that a lot of materials can sort of consolidate or, well, not lithify, but especially if there's iron in there, they can sort of bind together in what looks like a rock.
And
Spend
also,
a
if
few
this is
mo-
a limestone, it can slightly dissolve in
Yes.
water and crust really
Yes.
I've told
quickly.
them like limestone is soluble. Not
Very.
many people
Exactly.
don't know that. So yeah.
Yeah, so what I think of it is that it's probably much more recent than what it looks like. And it may very well indeed be a few hundred years old, but because of the way it's preserved, it looks like it's much older. So I would say that I had the luck to live in London for a few months, and I would go collect fossils in the Thames or on the banks of the Thames at the Hammersmith Bridge. And I was convinced they were fossils because they were really heavy.
I lost that hammer.
But what I later found
Damn
out is
you,
that
Connor.
the Thames is so rich in dissolved minerals that if something is in there for a few hundred years, it actually looks like it's much older as well. So that would be my interpretation.
I see Vince and us agree. We need to get a better handle on what caused the Permian Triassic extinction. Agreed. It's not deciphered properly enough. It's a complex one.
Yeah.
We've mostly focused actually on the recovery period because that's the early middle Triassic in the Netherlands, at least the material that we studied. But yes, it's a very poorly understood extinction.
Okay, let's see. What else do we have for questions? Have you delved into Gilgamesh? I delved into it a little bit when I was researching Uruk and the Ziggurat of Ur, but not enough to like say more about it than I did in those videos. So if you haven't seen those videos, go check it out. I mean, you know.
Yeah, so the egg came well before the chicken. Technically speaking, we lay eggs too. We just don't have a hard shell around it, but the egg is the same in principle. So it outdates chickens very, very far.
And fish lay eggs as well.
Fish lay eggs, and we're all fish. I don't know if you know, but we're all fish.
We're all fish.
We're all fish.
You're all fishy.
You're welcome.
Would you like to have dinos back on the surface of the Earth?
We have them. Birds are dinosaurs. Almost 10,000 species, or roughly 10,000 species.
So yeah, birds.
Sorry,
Dinos
they're
are
not.
alive
They're
and
not.
well.
They're not all extinct.
It's just the land.
The non-avian.
Yeah, the non-avian.
Yeah.
Let's see. I mean, about the Sphinx, we don't necessarily know what the head looked like or if it's a recarving or not. I mean, we'll never know, probably. Unless you can make a time machine and let me travel back in time. Then I can tell you the answer. Cats seem to have similar feet to dinosaurs. Is there any relation? I've never heard of that.
Not a biological relation.
No. But I mean, you can have similarities without. I actually don't see this similarity, but you can have a similarity without a biological relation. Don't forget, like for instance, almost everything alive has eyes. Like animals, almost all animals have eyes, but they don't necessarily stem from the same origin. The eyes of insects don't have the same origin as the eyes of humans, but they did develop eyes.
Yeah.
That's not because we're related to them.
For you, Melanie, because I know you've worked with someone or under someone who knows more about this, what's your take on the Younger Dryas and what happened there? And then right below it, it's do you believe in the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis? Just quickly,
Okay,
maybe?
I will first say that I don't believe in anything. I actually sometimes struggle to believe my own findings because I'd like to question that. So belief is something I don't apply. If data points into a certain direction, I will try to explain why my data points into a certain direction, and then I will create a hypothesis. So first of all, no, I do not believe. Well, not in anything, but also not in the Younger Dryas impact event. I don't think there's anything pointing to an impact, and I don't think that necessarily has anything to do with what ensued around there. But he actually knows a lot more about that than I do.
Well, the transition from the last ice age into the Holocene is not one way up.
Exactly.
It's like a gradual process, and it was driven by a lot of factors, but a very important one is related to the sun and the relation of the Earth to the sun. There's variable factors that influence how much solar radiation is received on Earth and how it's distributed across the Earth. So the Younger Dryas is most likely a return to slightly less favorable solar conditions. Mm-hmm. But if you're interested, you can also look in something called the Maunder minimum, which is a period of less solar irradiation that happened well into documented times. And in the Netherlands, we had paintings that suddenly showed the canals in Amsterdam being frozen over so thick that people were walking on them like it's nothing. And having been in Amsterdam and having seen some ice on the canals, I never dared to actually tread them. So the fact that was possible and that we had these beautiful winter landscapes correlates with what we also know about how the solar irradiation was different back then.
Also, just for me, Sam makes... Yes, I'm enjoying my time in Sardinia. Thank you. Because he's been like messing with me all since I arrived. He's been
the question
using a lot
above,
of
though,
other-
I like that
Yes,
one.
I knew because
From Jonathan Cummings.
Jonathan Cummings, in the mid-Triassic, what do you think the edge was for the dinosaurs over the very similar relatives of crocodilians, some of whom were also bipedal? It's a mystery for me.
Okay, so first of all, they're in the same group. They're both archosaurs. And I mean, the dinosaurs stem from archosaurs and they differentiate from there. But this is not, I don't think it's a very clear-cut line.
Well, crocodilians is the most basal group of archosaurs, then pterosaurs, then dinosaurs. So it dictates that
They predate
dinosaurs
them.
and pterosaurs have a shared ancestor that's not shared with crocodilians. But the most plausible, again, I don't want to say hypothesis too much because it sounds like I'm just nerding out. But
Wait, Aren't you a nerd?
It's Friday evening, and I'm sitting at home.
It's
so
time to
We
be
have a
nerdy.
beer. We have a beer.
Yes, exactly. It's time to be nerdy. Like,
What
this is their moment.
what dinosaurs develop, what crocodilians don't have, is what we call the erect stance, which is what you and me have as well.
Yeah. It's
It
not
costs-
just being bipedal. It's literally the angle at the hips.
Yeah, so it costs less energy for a dinosauromorph or a dinosaur to move about. They can be quicker, it's more efficient. They may have received an edge around there.
Shall I visualize it?
Well, you can try.
Oh God. Okay.
How does
here
a crocodile move?
Here to embarrass myself. So reptiles, I need space. Reptiles, they move like this, and dinosaurs, they move like this. You're welcome.
Ah. Yes, perfect. I love the fact that this screen takes us, like we see ourselves in real time, and then that screen,
Has
It's
2
a
seconds
little-
delay, so I could see myself do this.
which makes it even better. Okay, look, what else do we have? Do you believe in aliens? Aliens built the pyramids of Egypt. First of all, yes, I do believe in extraterrestrial life. I've said
I
this
don't
a couple
exclude
times.
it.
Yes, I do believe in extraterrestrial life. As I've said a couple times in
You mean
my-
like amoebas or?
just life.
Yeah,
I'm not even saying like it's intelligent. I'm just saying that I do believe in life in the universe besides Earth. But as I've said in previous live streams, I do not necessarily believe in an intelligent life form that came to Earth because I mean, who the fuck are we?
I will just say that I don't believe when you have absence of evidence that you can rule something out. So we
Yeah.
don't have evidence of a life outside of our planet or outside of our solar system. So we cannot rule it out, but we don't have evidence.
Yeah.
So
But I always say that I think
don't
it's
my brain doesn't spend time on that.
yeah, no, but like I've explained it to the people in prior live streams. The reason I do believe that there is life is because it would be very, I don't know, maybe narcissistic of humans to think that we're the only planet with life. I don't know. It's weird.
It's a statistical thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a very famous dilemma that states that if there are so many planets, even in our own in our own galaxy, and there are so many galaxies that one other planet out there, at least one, and probably much more, are prone
Yeah.
to have something we call life. But
Yeah.
if it doesn't descend from the same stock as life on Earth, we may not even recognize it.
Robert Pizer. So is Melanie saying fish and chips is cannibalism?
Well,
Well,
oh, now I have to watch my words.
Well, cannibalism, I think the definition is eating your own species.
Yeah,
and
yeah, it's
although
defined
Melanie
as
is
species.
absolutely correct that biologically speaking we fall among the fishes, we are not a species of fish.
No,
Yeah.
no, no.
So,
Yeah, we don't have gills anymore. We have like evolved from
Yeah.
fish, but in our ancestral state, in the phylogenetic tree, we're still Sarcopterygians.
yeah. And
Like
Henrik, yes, give me your TARDIS. Thank you. Duh. Like, isn't that... No, that's not even a question. What do you guys think of the girl on TikTok who said that Rome didn't exist? I've not seen
that,
the
but it sounds
TikToks. I've
like
heard about it.
I'm not sure if she was high.
She could have been.
I
don't
mean,
know.
I don't know how you can say Rome doesn't exist. I mean, even the statement "every road leads to Rome" is
Yeah.
true in a way. I mean,
implies that something exists.
something
that Rome
exists
must be.
and has for a while.
Do you think that Mohenjo-Daro is the earliest civilization that birthed in Indus Valley? Well, first of all, I've spoken. Earlier today, I spoke with her boss, Professor Alberg, about
He's quite nice.
the term civilization and what falls under the term of civilization. Because what is a civilization? A civilization isn't just a group of people living together building things. A civilization is defined by a number of things, and that's why we say the birth of civilization happened in Iraq at the city of Uruk, because that was the first city-state. There's a difference between a large settlement and a city-state, and that's Mohenjo-Daro. I mean, there were settlements there and they built things, yes, just that Cataluyuk in Turkey, which is a lot older than the city of Uruk, but it's not necessarily defined as a city-state. That's just to make that clear. I'm doing a video on that really soon because I feel like that's a misconception. And I've spoken to the professor about maybe we need to update what it means to be a civilization, because there is quite some there are way too many big question marks for the people who are not in science, who just
I actually know that this is something that Big History tackles. I was a research assistant for a course called Big History, which covers the history from the Big Bang until the present at the University of Amsterdam. If you're in the area and you want to take that course, do it.
do it.
Highly recommend it. Gives you a little bit of a concept of everything, which is really nice.
Very nice. In English?
In English, yeah. And but I mean, yeah. Technically speaking, it's always a set of definitions that somebody sets, and it's always somebody looking back at what they can find and then setting the set of definitions. In a way, it's similar to a person finding a skeleton of a fossil and saying, "Oh, it's a new species," because they don't see the similarities to the species that is similar. So it's always a bit dependent on who observes it.
Yeah. Let's see, what else do we have? I mean, the dinos.
I guess you wanna know which one we would like to have back.
Ah.
I don't think it's a good idea to have dangerous dinosaurs back. I like the movies.
Yeah.
I really like the movies. Really like the
Jurassic
movies.
Park shirt.
But I don't think it's a good idea.
No, me neither. I mean, the dinos which would be mistaken with dragons, so would you mind to have more dangerous species than birds? Like bigger reptiles? No, preferably not bigger reptiles.
I mean, they can hurt.
Yeah.
Technically speaking, we're reptiles as well. I don't want to make a pedantic point about it, but so a reptile is traditionally defined as a cold-blooded amniote, which is something that follows after amphibians, so an animal that can lay eggs on land, whether they're incubated internally or externally or by the sun or in the soil. But the funny thing is that a reptile is in biology not used anymore, because modern day biology defines a group as one ancestral organism and all of its descendants.
And that's impossible.
And if you think along with me, if a dinosaur would be a reptile, which I think a lot of people would intuitively agree with, then a bird should be a reptile as well. And that's in the definition of what a bird is, sort of often left out. So either a bird is a reptile and then reptiles are a thing, or and then we are reptiles as well because we descend from cold-blooded synapsid reptiles. But so yeah, bigger reptiles. We'll see.
For Christian Roots, was it possible that humans lived alongside with dinosaurs? Any possibility of it happening? There was a fossil human footprint found that it could happen. What do you think? Well, I spoke about this earlier with the professor as well, because I mean, I covered my bases, you know.
I do just want to. Humans live alongside dinosaurs right now because birds are dinosaurs. Carry on.
Yeah, exactly. We are living alongside the avian dinosaurs. Yeah, and the footprints that they discovered
in Texas
of the dinosaurs, that they weren't human footprints.
No.
Well, what Professor Alberg told me earlier today is that it wasn't a human footprints. It was the front paws of the dinosaurs put in such a way and slanted, like he didn't lift his paw up in high enough, so it looks similar to a human footprint, but it's not. I spoke about how footprints are created and fossilized, how that happens. It usually happens when like soil gets wet, and then footsteps
typically
are made.
Riverbeds or so the thing is you need something of a tidality, typically speaking. So you need something to get moist and humid so that it's flexible, so that when you push your feet in, it will indent properly, but also so that it gets dry afterwards, so that it can harden out before a new layer. Exactly. So that when a new layer of moist material is deposited on top, that it's properly hardened.
Yeah, and it hardens like a concrete state. Like it's as hard as concrete. And the layers on top that get deposited usually don't necessarily get as hard as concrete because it depends on certain situations. Like the reason that layer got as hard as concrete was because there was a dry spell after the fact that it got moist.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we find these layers in
And
sediments.
that's why you often get these mud cracks
Yeah.
in the same layers, because when it dries out, it shrinks.
So no humans and dinosaurs back then, with those dinosaurs, humans did not
No.
live
No,
alongside them.
no.
Did
Did all mammals come from the small shrew-like mammals that survived after the non-avian dinosaurs went extinct? I love how specific you are.
Tim Smith.
I don't think. I think that recently some papers have come out showing that they're not all like as small as the small shrews, but I mean all mammals come from the mammals that survived the extinction event. Yeah.
So
And we shouldn't forget that the fossils we find is only a glimpse of what really existed. So it's like trying to
Wow.
reconstruct a puzzle based on 10% of the pieces.
Yeah.
And although you get quite a good idea of what an ancestral form of this or some intermediate form of that may look like,
Just to put
it's
an
actually
example.
a continuous process, and a lot of other pieces are missing. So
The chances of anything living fossilizing are extremely slim. You need to be buried really quickly, preferably without any oxygen being able to reach you. So, for instance, anything like dying in the jungle is going to just get eaten by the whole food chain there and will never fossilize. So there's large groups of animals that we likely don't even know,
yeah.
existed.
To David Peachy, don't believe anything, not even your own observations. Well,
no, I
observations.
The thing is that it's not a belief in that case. I see something and I go, I go
proven.
look for an explanation
Yeah.
for what I see, but I
Yeah.
don't go in anything believing in something. No.
Are you interested in exobiology and the very real possibility that new space instruments may show us biosignatures on distant planets very soon? I'm seeing someone
Yes,
here he was
Nodding.
it is
He
an
was
extremely
nodding.
interesting topic because it sort of borders astronomy, geology, and biology. And obviously, as you may be aware, we already found out that there's a lot of like amino acids and other more complex compounds than we believed were possible are actually present on extraterrestrial bodies. But how this all comes together in like a proper biological sense is very hard to predict. And to give you a funny little anecdote, I remember reading a book when I was with my grandfather many decades ago, and it mentioned that they developed a satellite. I forgot which, or a spacecraft. I forgot which one it was, that went to check for evidence of, I think, what was it? Some signs that we correlate with life on Earth, and they wanted to test it on Mars to see if they could find anything. And they built the thing, they sent it out, and then they did a test run around Earth, and they actually didn't detect life here either. Although, if you would look at the Earth and know that plants are the only green things we see around us, it's pretty clear there's a lot of life.
Y'all don't exist.
Yeah, so it's and to hill back to what we were just
No
discussing.
intelligent life detected.
If you don't know what extraterrestrial life really looks like or what it's based on,
Yeah.
it's very challenging to identify detectors that are actually accurate or calibrated.
How do you pick it
to
up in the first
Yeah.
place? Yeah.
identify that.
Sam, what would you consider to be the most important discovery, because archaeological discovery in recent years
Paleontological.
pertaining to what we understand about dinosaurs? I can answer this for them,
Oh wow.
but I cannot actually give you the answer because you're just gonna have to wait a little bit longer. Because
Oh, that's cute. Oh,
there
that's
is
cute. I
a
don't think
re-
it's that. Thank
I
you.
personally do because I mean I'm not in the field and for me that is like a massive
Oh,
revelation.
thank you.
But I
She's
can
talking
talk
about my
about it.
paper that's not yet out.
Yes.
But no, I don't think so. I think it would be.
I think it's the revolution. If you go back 30 years,
Yeah.
dinosaurs were depicted in awkward poses,
Yeah, like
being
these slumpy,
cold-blooded by
giant,
definition,
yeah.
with leathery skin and just trampling
Yeah,
around.
I mean they had feathers. They could be small. They were fast. Oviraptor turns out not to be an egg robber, but the mom. on top of the nest, protecting her eggs and dying in the process.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many that I don't know where to start.
Steve D, I think your question is really funny. Hi, Kaylee. Question for Melanie. Why are paleontologists hiding the fossils of Welsh dragons from us and pretending they never existed? Well,
Ooh,
I mean,
I don't know many Irish paleontologists. I don't also know. Oh, sorry, I said Irish. I don't know any
Oh.
Welsh paleontologists.
Unsubscribe.
I heard people now. I heard people now. Oh dear gosh. No, but sorry. I don't know.
No, we have a meeting every week, and then at the end of the meeting, we all decide that
Yep.
we will not acknowledge
Big
the
Paleo
Welsh
does not want
dinosaur
this to
fossils.
happen.
Yeah.
Big Paleo.
Yeah, no, it was
Yeah.
the my earpiece telling me to say Irish,
Yeah.
just to ignore.
See, see? No, it's no, it's all right.
Do you think I cannot. I can't,
Quetzalcoatl.
don't get me wrong. I can't even pronounce.
Quetzalcoatl.
No, I can't pronounce that. I'm impressed. No, I don't think it was an alien. No.
No. Me neither. We are taught dinosaurs are millions of years old.
Tens or hundreds of millions of years old, not millions.
Yeah, tens of hundreds of millions. Could the
No.
timeline be off because they have found
Oh.
soft tissue on some of them?
Yes, so what is actually preserved as soft tissue is not what you would recognize
No.
as a steak. And the thing is,
It's not soft anymore.
no, but this is actually a very interesting
Yeah.
point, and I don't want to go too deep into it, but let me just say that if by independent methods we have determined that a layer is indeed tens of millions of years old, and we then find something in that layer that we cannot really explain, like how can it survive that long, we need to start to look at how it can survive that long. It
Exactly.
would not be smart to then automatically sort of reject all these dating tools that we have and then say,
Because
well,
they are
intuitively we
extremely
think it cannot
consistent.
survive.
Yeah.
I think it's more important to really look into it because it is indeed a very fascinating revolution. And the question we just had, what's one of the more fascinating things discovered about dinosaurs?
Is that soft tissues are actually very common. And that's because we now use techniques like synchrotron scanning. So we use high resolution X-rays and we really look. I mean, we don't prepare the rock away from fossils anymore alone. We actually scan the whole block and then we find out, wait a minute, there's something left inside this skull. And that is something that we would otherwise never have found. That doesn't
Yeah.
mean that it was never there in the first place. We started having the tools to discover them.
Okay. Life of sarcasm. Flat earthers are literally all over the globe. Pun
Yeah,
intended.
all around. All around. You missed the word. All around.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, civilizations, quote unquote, lived and existed well before cities. Absolutely. And I spoke about that with the professor, and it will become a video very soon on the channel. Also, just for everyone, just so you know, these two will create, or they have officially created, a YouTube channel already, and they
She's
will
pushing us.
interview people from the scientific community. So if you're interested in that, I will leave a link later in the description after the live stream is ended. So there's
gotta get to
nothing
work.
yet, but they, like as she said, they gotta get to work. So y'all just push them because I'm feeling that people are interested in what you guys do, and I don't feel like there's many paleontologists on YouTube at the moment.
No, because
I
we're
mean,
all kind of busy, so
we're
we're gonna
very busy.
you're gonna get like you're gonna have to get like not the amount of videos that she does.
No, but like this is my full-time job now, so I mean,
Yeah.
not many people could do that. But yes, if you're interested, let me know. Let's see, Henrik again. What is the cause of the apparent rapid diversification of multicellular animal life around the beginning of the Cambrian, resulting in the emergence of almost all modern animal phylae?
You mean what is the cause of the Cambrian explosion of life?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
It's
You want to try it?
yeah, it's an artifact of. The thing is, we probably had a very big diversity before, but they were all so soft and weak, and they may have looked all very different. But if they're not preserved, it's very hard to understand which diversity we're actually looking at.
Because
And
they
the
started developing hard parts.
Well, the
They
Cambrian
became
explosion
fossilized.
marked the onset of predation. So
Yeah.
one animal developed, evolved. It's not a conscious thing, but they happened to come across some hard tissues in their body, decided to start gnawing at other organisms with it. And in response, the other organisms that were gnawed at, if you have a mutation that allows them to develop some, an exoskeleton is a big beginning, but some harder tissues on the outside, you're more prone to find this predator and this prey in the fossil record rather than going back 100 million years before when they're all slime on the bottom of the ocean.
Slime.
They were pretty much inert
Ugh.
and soft. Yeah.
Leon asks, going to be in the field anytime soon? If so, can you make some vlogs on your dig sites?
Fucking COVID. Sorry.
COVID.
We hope to go back to the field next year.
You
There's
also just had like a son a year ago, so I mean...
he's one. We'll go back to the field.
Yes, you're gonna go back to the field. But there was also a
grandparents
reason,
want to babysit. That's not a problem. That's not the problem, and I mean, but we would like to resume our annual excavations in Winterswijk, and I have to do some excavations for my PhD. Not yet sure where I'll go. Maybe Greenland, maybe Russia. But if I go, then I will record some stuff. I generally speaking, I will make videos. But if I make vlogs, then likely I will have to hide major discoveries, because you tend to want to wait until you can publish that.
Yeah.
Sorry for the disappointment. So if I share videos of excavations, they're typically a couple of years old.
But that's okay, because I mean...
not like always a couple of years old.
But
sometimes
at the time that it gets
quicker,
published
yeah.
eventually, then you have everything, you can show everything. It's just that, you know, it's sensitive. You want to wait until you can actually release the information in the right way.
Yeah, exactly.
It needs to be done right.
Yeah.
It's just like Professor Alberg and I, we spoke a lot about footprints, but we only put in the diplomatic version that could be released right now.
Yeah.
You don't release things that you shouldn't
No.
talk about yet.
The thing is that there's a timeline for everything, and when it comes to research, then you want to finish your study, you want to have it peer reviewed, you want to have your independent co-workers look over it and help you improve the piece before you publish it.
Yeah.
And so you don't share anything new with the world until you have.
I do love that. I like the fact that everyone loves your pink hair.
Oh, thank you so much. I worked very hard on it.
The pink beard is also very nice, yes.
I always say when people comment that, I say we're all pink on the inside, so we can all be proud of that.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, what else do we have for questions? I heard they want to clone the mammoth back. Good idea. They are, I think.
I'm not sure if
they
it's
were
a good
trying
idea. I
to
know
do
they were
it.
trying. They have quite a lot of DNA, but
Yeah.
I mean, to get the whole sequence, I'm not sure if they have the whole
No,
sequence.
officially we're
At
at the
least
level
part,
that
yeah.
we're comparing
Yeah.
mammoth DNA sequences
Yeah,
against...
and they're trying to figure out which of the current living elephant species or
Would be most appropriate, yeah.
so they
which
are
is the
looking
Indian
into it.
elephant.
Mm-hmm.
What else do we have? Didn't they find iridium which may point to an impact for the Younger Dryas?
No.
If you look at that level anywhere around the world, you may find some things. A more compelling argument was that they found spherules, so the little
Impact
tectites.
spherules, yeah.
But they were, I'm aware of a paper that mentioned that, and later that was
Can I
disproven
quickly...
as...
Impact spherules are pieces of earth rock that get fired into space when a meteorite hits, and then they crystallize in space, so they're hollow on the inside and rain back down on Earth.
Yeah, but the spherules in the Younger Dryas sediments were later found to, at least at that location, found to be manganese, iron, concretions, things like that. So, and obviously there was a Younger Dryas event that all over Europe left an ash layer that allows us to sort of relative date all that, but that's not necessarily, or well, what I just mentioned is not at all any indication for an extraterrestrial origin. However, again, if we count the sun as an extraterrestrial body, then I'm the first to say that the Younger Dryas had an extraterrestrial cause.
But not extra solar system.
Oh,
No.
I think that we're like 5 minutes behind in like the questions.
Holy crap.
Yeah,
Sorry,
it's
we're
a
slow.
lot. We're slow, but like we also want to take like the actual time to answer things. So I found where we were because I went a bit down. Let's see.
Synapsids, our group lived alongside dynapsids. Yeah. Reptiles, including dinosaurs, from
Oh, yeah,
the time
here.
both.
This was the one I was reading.
Oh, sorry.
I thought SAR was the forming of names of lizards. So if birds are dinosaurs, then birds are reptiles?
Because
Yeah,
birds are dinosaurs. If you say dinosaurs are reptiles, then birds have to be reptiles
exactly.
as well.
Yeah.
But that's the biological definition. There's the colloquial definition for something is not necessarily the same as the biological one.
Yeah.
And I try to stay within what I know is sort of the biological convention, so I'm not confusing myself mostly.
Okay. Are you seeing one that you
Did
want to do?
snakes evolve from burrowing lizards or aquatic lizards? That's a really good question. I mean,
Hendrik.
snakes I always considered as completely mesmerizing, but I'll be very honest, I've never studied snakes. We did do a dissection at the lab with the students the other day with snakes. And snakes,
They were dead before they started, you know? They were already
we don't
frozen.
dissect living things.
Exactly.
That's rude.
Yeah.
Rude is not the word here, but but I mean, they're just mesmerizing. They're just an incredible long row of a vertebra with ribs attached, and I mean, I've never studied them because I study animals with limbs, and these don't have them, and I don't know from who they lost them.
To me, snakes are always like the living anomalies. Because
Yeah.
they're so weird, different. Like,
I
they
think-
slither around.
Yeah, but
like,
there was this Jurassic fossil of what's a proper
Yeah.
snake, but it has these little limbs still.
Yeah.
So and I like how he said lizard, because a lizard is what we call a lepidosaur,
Yeah.
which is the sister group to the archosaurs. So a crocodile is not a lizard, but
An
a
archosaur.
varan or iguana is a lizard. And actually within that group we have squamates, which is snakes and, for example, mosasaurs. So a mosasaur is much more closely related to a snake and an iguana than, for example, to a plesiosaur or a dinosaur or you and me.
What else do we have? Let's see. Because, like, we're really behind in questions.
Sorry, we're trying to catch up.
Yeah, we're trying to catch up. Did turtles evolve from anapsids or diapsids? Yeah, Henrik is on point. I think
he just knows the difficult questions and he asks us.
Yeah.
Well, no, anapsid used to be the group of turtles. So diapsids means you have two temporal fenestra.
So two cavities in the brain, foramen in the brain,
Yeah, that
behind the
relate
eye.
to where your musculature works with for your mandible, for
We
your
actually
lower
have
jaw.
one. If you put your fingers here and open and close your mouth,
Yeah. So
you
we
feel
yeah.
the muscles.
So of the original diapsid condition, the top one closed down. We have the bottom one left. Plesiosaurs only have the upper one left. So they used to be called euryapsids, but now we know it's a bit of a derived thing. So we name them diapsids. Okay. And anapsid is quite similar. It's probably also derived from a diapsid condition. So in that regard, I would say that turtles descended from diapsids.
What are your thoughts on human evolution, and are humans still evolving? As a biological anomaly, mutation is defiantly still occurring. I mean, I don't think you ever stop evolving.
The thing is that I think that
takes a
when
very
people
long
look
time.
at evolution and when they look at the past in evolution, they don't. It's hard to grasp how slowly these things go.
Yeah.
I don't think
Like,
I don't think species
blue
will
eyes-
ever stop evolving.
Like with blue eyes, it's a very recent thing. White skin
Everybody
is a very
with-
recent
Everybody with
thing.
blue eyes actually can be drawn back to the same single ancestor. So it's
That's evolution for you.
It's-
So yes, we are still evolving.
of course we are, but we will likely not notice it.
No, because it
I'm
takes at least, and don't pin me on this, but at least a couple thousand years for a change. At least like
I mean,
For
there's
it to,
no
like,
fixed
stick,
rate. It really depends. I mean, before sexual reproduction, so before a male and a female came together, shared half their genes, and created offspring, evolution was even slower because it was just living things copying themselves. So
Yeah,
the
the
chances
cells,
of there being a variation in there is much, much smaller.
Yeah.
So, but it really depends on the species, and not everything evolves at the same rate, and also not everything changes. We still have cyanobacteria, which are among the known first types of life on Earth.
And humans also still have the tailbone. I don't, but I mean,
Mhm.
most people do.
Mhm.
People know. I mean, I'm open about it. I just don't have a tailbone anymore. But imagine if we had a few less extinction events. I don't think.
Yeah, that would have changed everything.
But
because
would
extinction,
we humans then exist?
No.
No, likely not. No,
So
I don't think so.
don't imagine it, probably, because then.
No, the thing is, especially with these massive extinction events, it wipes out a lot of the niches, like a lot of the predators that used to dominate the entire area. Suddenly they were gone. It changes everything, the
Yeah.
whole dynamic.
It's not even a butterfly effect. It's just completely different.
Yeah, and for instance, the Permian Triassic wiped out almost everything. So then everything that survived will start from scratch, and they can evolve into all these niches that are not occupied.
Yeah. Okay. Is dinosaur DNA something that we could ever find?
Maybe a little bit, but probably not a whole sequence.
Or if like our technology gets to a certain
No, it
point?
it
really is gone?
It's not something that gets preserved very
Oh,
well.
It depends.
Of course, but
Under exceptional circumstances.
Yeah.
The thing is, we
It
cannot
might
exclude
be
it.
possible in the
No.
future.
But it's not known to be a particularly like collagen, which is something we talk about that is likely in some degree preserved in some really old fossils. It's known to be a more robust
Yeah.
biological structure, and DNA itself is really not.
No.
So, but then again, you cannot really exclude
No,
it.
no,
I don't
no,
want
I
to go
mean,
on record saying
we don't want to
we
say
will never
never.
ever
Yeah.
find
Yeah.
it, but the idea that we will find from a non-avian dinosaur a complete strand that we can just read and say, okay, this is how this animal did it just from looking at the DNA, that seems quite unlikely
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
What are some of the ways these tissues could survive over such a long period of time? Asks Jack Duncan. Well, so first of all, you need to make sure that oxygen can no longer get there. Oxygen is a reagent, a reactant. No.
Yeah, it reacts
It-
with
Oxygen reacts with everything
organic
that
compounds.
lives. So it will decay, and it will allow organisms to feed off of it, or so you need to be buried quick, you need to be buried without oxygen, and then you need to stay buried like that for a very long time. But that's not all. A lot. I mean, it doesn't end when you fossilize, because if then a mountain forms on top of you, we will never find you.
And to Talos, do we agree that all Northern European folks are brothers from the same tribe?
Not
No,
sure. I think it would
wouldn't
really
say
depend
so.
on. I mean,
How far do you want to go back for that?
also, I don't think I'm anybody's brother.
No, we're sisters. So
I mean, just like in a basic sense.
yeah, no, but like also when I spoke about this in the Doggerland video, how we had the Neanderthals here in Northern Europe, and then it became too cold, so we all went further south in the Neanderthals as well, and then after that, the Magdalenian culture came back north.
Mm-hmm.
And that, yes, that's a culture, but a culture isn't necessarily a same tribe.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the definition of a tribe is.
Yeah,
so
that's
forgive me.
why
but
I'm
that-
like, I don't feel that the answer to that would ever be yes.
Shall we move to the next one? Because I like it. It's for you.
That's have you
you-
seen some feathers on fossils of T-Rex or raptors?
The thing is to see, so a feather itself is not preserved as such. And there are some fossils on which we can see imprints of feathers from dinosaurs, but they're not T-Rex or raptors. What I have seen, which is extremely interesting, is so there's actually multiple types of feathers. You have down feathers, which is what a little a chicken has, for example.
Mostly for insulation.
Yes, and they have pennaceous feathers, which is what we associate with the feathers covering the body of a bird and making up its wings. And on the ulna of a bird, you will have very distinct what we call quill knobs. so ulnar papillae, which is little bumps. The feathers are the veins of feathers are sort of organized in between them, and there's a lot of tissues and tendons going across it to sort of be able to orient them. And actually, some raptors have been found that we know cannot fly, but they actually do have these quill knobs, which is very interesting because they had feathers extending from their anterior limb, from their arm, if you will. They were able to do something with them, even if it's just for presentation, and that likely originated before dinosaurs started using them for aerial locomotion, and in what we would call birds today or flying dinosaurs in the past. So
I'm seeing another flat earthers all across the world. Get it together. All around the world.
Around. They're around it. Let's see.
How long do you think mankind will survive? Long enough to have a son, but I'm not that optimistic.
no, I think we are in an extinction event, but just very zoomed in.
Yeah.
And how long this will go on, if we will turn out to somehow navigate this, turn this around, or if we're a proper plague and just, mean our own doom or come to our own doom, is something we will have to await.
Henrik, when paleontologists dig up YouTube, they'll get more interested in being on it?
Maybe. I think it wouldn't even surprise me if paleontologists would like to be on YouTube. I know there's also a lot of introverts among us, but it's also a lot of work.
Yeah.
And
I've seen 2 days now of work, and
no, but also you are doing a lot of work on YouTube, and
absolutely.
I don't have that time next to my work
and being a mom.
And I'm a mom too, so so I think a lot of paleontologists likely work too much, and even if they don't work too much, but just the regular amount, then.
So if anyone wants to be a cameraman and a mic man and an editor for a paleontologist.
Oh yeah. That would be nice. That would be so nice.
Yeah. Does your university have archaeological projects with underwater scanning?
Not sure, because we don't do archaeology, so but I could probably send out an email and ask if they do.
I wouldn't be surprised.
It wouldn't be surprising, no.
Yeah. I bet they are involved in projects doing that. I'm not sure if they host it themselves, but I do know.
Like the underwater archaeology, it's such a
I know.
niche within the niche of archaeology.
I always have to think about the Mary Rose when we speak about underwater, even though it's no longer underwater.
Yeah, for me it's like Frank Goddard or Gordy, the one he was the person who is leading the underwater archaeological excavations at Taunus Heraclean in Egypt. And if you're interested in that, type Taunus Heraclean and underwater archaeology in Google and just go to his website, because he shares a lot of information. And he lives in France, but I
see the Vasa. Yeah, that's also a good one.
A lot. He's in Egypt a lot for those excavations, and he's like the lead person into that.
Yeah.
So, but I don't.
Yeah, but
know enough about
she knows stuff about archaeology, and we occasionally, I occasionally pick up glimpses. He knows also stuff about archaeology, but I.
James Staples asks, could the explosion of the Cambrian, like all the life forms, be assisted by an impact?
Not likely or specifically. It's called the Cambrian explosion of life because there's an explosive radiation of complexity of life, but there wasn't an explosion.
Yeah. Looking forward to the Paleontology YouTube channel. See, people.
So am I.
Thank you.
People are interested. I told them.
If we could have a sandwich right now, what would it be? We need to answer this.
Sam. By the way, Sam is the person about the Jutvas.
Oh, really?
Zwart.
Hi, Sam.
Oh, you're his friend, because I already see a hot dog and a bun as a sandwich.
No. I'm going to go for a pistoletje halfon in Dutch. It's like a pastrami liver thing, which I haven't had in ages because we're in Sweden now. So.
Well, thankfully, in a couple of weeks you're in the Netherlands.
Yes.
Gosh.
Yeah, we should be able to get it.
Yeah. Do you believe we as humans are still evolving?
Yep.
Yes.
Answered that.
What else do we have? Anthropology is superior to archaeology. Prove me wrong.
Not my
I
job.
like structures, so archaeology will always win with me. But that's because I used to do architecture, and that's still a fascination of
Well,
mine.
my response to
So, yeah.
anybody saying prove me wrong is always like, don't need to.
What are your thoughts on Dickinsonia? Are they basal animals,
Oh.
fungi, or an extinct kingdom? Henrik, like, do I need to come down to Denmark?
Do you want to take an hour and just debate this with us? We could maybe have a Zoom. It's fine. Because
will
I mean,
forward you, Henrik. You DM me, we will fix this. This will be fixed. Yes. Kaylee, you missed. Wait, what? Why? We jumped back down. I need to scroll all the way back up.
Are we that far behind?
Oh, we were far behind.
Oh, we're even further behind.
We were even further behind. Here we were. House of Tone. Kaylee, you missed the Launceston Mound in Cornwall. Honey, I didn't even go to Cornwall because I didn't get that far south.
No.
I was in Devon. I was in Totnes, and we went to Dartmoor National Park, and we went to Plymouth. And further south than Plymouth, I have not went.
And
So,
I see
in the future.
I see Tawny. What is the most impressive discovery you dug out? Well, I dug it out in 2017, and I should publish it in a couple of, I'll say months or weeks.
I
We
think
will
weeks.
see.
We will see.
But I have interviewed her about it, and we can't speak on it yet. But it is interesting. Have you guys been in Bosnia and seen the pyramids over there? First of all, Mr. Ninjadre, the Bosnian pyramids, I do not believe that they're pyramids. They've been studied by archaeologists, and they all claim it's not a pyramid. Then there is one person who's not an official archaeologist who claims that they are pyramids. I side with the real archaeologists on this. It's just like the Peruvian volcano, which is a volcano, and the Kola Peninsula pyramids, which were actually on the Faroe Islands. And that's Pharaoh with an F-A-R-O-E and not Pharaoh as in the Egyptian pharaohs, because some people were confused by that. Sorry for the confusion. Did you see a question?
Do you know about the 1930s video of mammoths in Siberia? No, send it.
Yes, James Staples, I have a email, historywithkaylee@gmail.com. You can always send me anything. It's specially made for anyone who wants to shoot me an email. I cannot promise that I will get back to you in time. It might take me 4 months, but I mean, just send it. I do have like a long list of emails I still need to sift through.
What is lus?
Ooh.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
So lus is if the sea basin is barren during an ice age, what you get is sand is from the basin is blown up back onto the continent, back onto land. And if you're very close to the coast, it will be coarse sand. If you go deeper inland, it will be finer. And if you go into the silt, clay fraction, so way land inwards, that's what you call lus. So it's
a size fraction.
Okay.
Yeah, a size fraction of material that's brought in by wind.
Yeah.
I'll be with the super chats. I'll try to be a bit more faster than usual because I have other people talking so that I can concentrate.
Have more beer on me.
Tom Finzer,
Cheers.
thank you. I am
you.
drinking cola because Dennis will grab my cider in a minute. As I
Yes, I
asked him
will.
earlier.
But of course.
Yes, but like no rush. No
I thought
rush.
I was the only one bossing him around.
No. He offered to give it to me earlier,
I know.
and we said, during the live stream. And also, Milo Wadlin, thank you so much for the super chat. My relic release. Oh, your relatives. Wow, I'm blonde. I'm really blonde. Your relatives came to the United States from Plymouth in 1815.
Wow.
Now, that's dope. Was it the, Plymouth was like the dock of where the English would migrate to Americas.
Ah,
That was where the boat would leave.
Wow.
that must have been like today you can fly or take a comfy boat. Back then it was probably a bit
that
more.
was like the one spot, I believe.
It took
from
a while.
England. Yeah, it
as
took
well.
a while. I mean, your relatives did good.
Did they keep a journal of the trip?
Oh, that would be dope. That
would be
dope.
interesting.
That's something that I would like to read. Like, I would take the time for that. Absolutely. Have you ever dated any archaeological specimens? If so,
No,
did you
that's
disagree with any
inappropriate.
results?
That's
No, I
sorry.
have.
You mean that kind of dating? I'm sorry.
Now, I worked in archaeology for 4.5 years, and the thing is, to
Yeah, I
date
want to.
something is, I think you mean like specify an age to something
Yeah.
like a year, but you should know that there's a lot of different ways you can date something archaeological. Very simple, if you find a ditch, and on the bottom of a ditch is a coin that dates to 1000 AD, you know the ditch cannot be much older than 1000 AD.
Yeah, it can always be younger in that case,
Yes.
but not older.
Can y'all speak about any great life-changing discoveries, technical advancements currently developed?
I would say synchrotron radiation in that sense.
Synchrotron scanning.
Synchrotron scanning. So nowadays, I think since the 90s, but especially the last 20 years, it's been developing very rapidly. You can scan a bone, a fossil bone, or a fossil skull, or I think next year even a fossil skeleton. And then you can go all the way and look in the bones for where the bone cells used to be deposited. So you get so much more detail. You can study fossil life forms and compare them to modern life forms because you suddenly have that level of detail.
That's dope.
And I think that's the biggest advancement in our field.
Well, I think that's a really good question. Good answer. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mula Bandola, it only now struck my mind. Why is it so rare to hear about dinosaur fossils being found in
I
Sweden? And-
like that one.
yeah.
There's a lot of granite here. That's intrusive rock. And there's no fossils in there. You need sedimentary rock for fossils. There are some in Skåne. And there are dinosaurs and fossils found in Skåne.
Henrik, we spoke about Skåne.
Uh-oh.
I already answered you about Skåne, so we keep this between us. Thank you.
It's where the truck brand Scania is named after.
Very well, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the super chat. He'll buy us a round. Wonderful discussion. Appreciate
Aw.
it. And Barry is always the one that every tweet I send gets
Oh
a heart
yeah,
from
yeah.
Barry.
I see
Okay.
Barry
You've seen
on
Barry.
Twitter. Yeah.
Yep, you've seen
Nice
Barry.
to see you, Barry.
I'll go get you your cider on behalf of Barry. now and then.
Thank you. Thank you so lovely.
I'll thank Barry.
Thank you,
Can you
Barry.
give me another beer? Because I think that was included.
So what else do we have? Were dinosaurs warm-blooded?
Ooh.
Ooh, do we need to wait
Dennis.
for Dennis? We're like 5 or 10 minutes
Give it
behind
2 seconds.
on questions. My
He's
God.
getting drinks. He's doing something important
He's
here.
grabbing my cider.
Were dinosaurs warm-blooded, Dennis?
Were dinosaurs warm-blooded?
Ooh, my first.
You know I'm not allowed to answer that. You have to answer that.
By the way, this is my first Swedish cider that I'm going to drink. It's a strawberry or raspberry cider. So
Yeah, should be good.
I hope it's good.
So, again, I'm not going to go pedantic and say that birds are dinosaurs and therefore dinosaurs are warm-blooded.
Because birds
But
are
obviously,
warm-blooded.
because all modern birds are warm-blooded, and they
Sure.
actually started to diversify
Oh,
well
that
when there
smells
were still non-avian dinosaurs around. Their ancestor was warm-blooded, and it would be a stretch to think that that was the first warm-blooded dinosaur. So I will say that among theropod dinosaurs, there is a certain group that is was most likely warm-blooded, that we would call proper non-avian dinosaurs. And how far that lineage extends back of likely warm-blooded dinosaurs is very hard to say, but if not all extinct dinosaurs were blooded, I would say that at least a part of them were.
I do like this one. This is not a question, but the pinky and the brain.
Well, that,
The pinky and the
has
brain.
upset me.
One is
since-
a genius, one is insane. I had to do it like that because to me,
Yeah, thanks.
my pink sister is still a genius. You know?
Well, but my initials spell mad, so I'm not sure if this works in my favor.
it doesn't. But I mean, I'm just gonna call Dennis insane because he's with the pinky who has a brain. So I mean, plus I mean he's pink on the inside. He said.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. Let's see. What else do we have? Anaconda and python and boa still have vestigial legs.
Yes, but I think whales, at least some of them, have
Yeah.
some
Yeah,
vestigial.
I spoke about the
Oh, you
whales in
did,
the
yeah.
Hadi El Witan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've
So,
seen that.
yeah.
Yeah. You've seen that one, yeah, and you,
Yeah, I remember you even mentioned early tetrapods in there. I was like, whoa.
sorry.
No, it was you did nothing wrong. Nothing wrong.
I did nothing wrong, but I
No,
did,
then
like,
I would have told
skim
you like
over
get
a
it
bit,
get
you
it
know?
removed and
Here,
fix it.
I'd like to take Chris's comment on the platypus, because that's such an
The
interesting
platypus
thing.
is the
It's a
real anomaly.
monotreme.
Yeah, so we have mammals. We have three groups of mammals. We have the placental mammals, which is what we are. Then we have monotremes, which today is the platypus and this animal with the weird name,
Echidnas.
echidnas. Yes, exactly. And then we have the marsupials, and and obviously of the three echidnas and platypi.
Let's just say platypi.
Yeah,
Platypi,
they
yeah.
have the most
Let's keep the pusses out of this, okay? Thank you.
primitive reproductive system, as they still lay eggs, and instead of having nipples that
They actually leak milk through their skin.
yes, so but
I
biology,
mean, I've been breastfeeding for a while, but that sounds
Yeah.
very uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, that sounds really weird.
but biology
like,
is
looking
weird.
at a baby platypus is like the very cutest thing you've ever seen in your life. Because, oh my god, I've seen pictures. I'm in love.
Yeah, no, but that's the thing with baby animals. We're biologically
also
programmed
cute.
to love everything.
Yeah. Yes, my sister indeed has nice pink hair.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
She even touched it up recently, which was one of the reasons why I knew we're gonna do a live stream. Because I mean, the hair is perfect now.
Thank you, thank you.
How intelligent were Neanderthals? Neanderthals were.
What
their
was the measurement
intelligence.
of their brain again?
I think their intelligence was equivalent to that of the modern human. They created the Paleolithic, the Paleolithic cave art. They were the ones that they invented glue from birch bark. So I mean, they were quite intelligent. They were not dumb. They were portrayed in by historians in the past as dumb, and as Professor Alberg said earlier today, they're trying to change that perception because they weren't dumb and they weren't idiots. They were actually really smart. There is a cave in France where Neanderthals actually used stalactites and stalagmites to create an outline of structure or something. They created an outline and they had places within this where they would burn wood.
The Neanderthal brain volume, the average Neanderthal brain volume is roughly, is actually somewhat higher than that of humans today. It's not smaller.
Yeah.
So that's why I said, what was their brain volume again?
I think it's safe to say that the Neanderthals were the smartest organisms around at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do believe in that, absolutely, yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know why they eventually disappeared.
They
Personally,
I don't think
know
they
why.
fully did because
No.
we still have their DNA. I
Yeah.
know you have their DNA, I have their DNA.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not sure about you, but no, I'm kidding. Kidding.
Henrik, the best explanation I've heard of evolutionary progress is to imagine a picture album with a pic of you a day. Nobody can pinpoint the one where you become an adult.
No, yeah, it's a continuous.
It's a
process.
continuous process, and that's the challenge of what we do. We have to go back and say, oh, this is when this happened,
Yeah.
and that's not true. What we say is, oh, this is our first finding of this happening,
Yeah.
because that's all we can say.
Yeah. Robert Pizer, to me, what is the biggest historical misconception that I would like to clear up? I do feel that the spread of the hominids and how the way the human evolution went with the hominid evolution, I think, is very misunderstood.
People
And-
tend to think it's one line.
Yeah, it's with branches that some of them died out and others like mixed, and then I don't know. It's weird, but I do want to go further into like the hominids and the human evolution, and I spoke about that with Professor Alberg as well earlier today, and he and I had really, I think we spoke for like 35 minutes about this, just one go.
I did
And
so much work in that time.
We brainstormed and it was like a sparring battle between the two of us because we both kept adding things and the conversation flowed. But I think I will go into this a lot more in the future. Then there's a question for Dennis and Melanie.
I want you to go first.
What is the biggest prehistoric misconception that you would like to clear up? Dennis?
That's a very good question. There is a big misconception, not necessarily about a detail about reconstructed life in the past, but more about the process that we go about. People tend to think that if there is a discovery made in the 80s and they write a publication and they give an explanation about it, and then 20 years later somebody else comes along and they find another solution, they would say that the first one was wrong and then the new one is right, and then 5 years down the line somebody else comes up with maybe a slightly better explanation, and then they say, oh no, the guy 5 years before us was wrong.
Yeah.
But it's all a continuous process. I mean,
we all build on top of each other.
yeah, we can all find the same fossils if we're in the right place at the right time. We can look at them, we can come up with an interpretation, and we take a lot of information from other fields, from biology, from material sciences, physics, things like that. So because that advances, we zoom in on certain things, and in the end of the day, it's science is not a volume of absolute truth that gets expanded. It's simply the best explanation we have for something today. So
Yeah.
I don't want to say, when I referred 20 minutes ago to us thinking in the 80s that dinosaurs were big and sluggish, and even 100 years ago that the biggest dinosaurs had to live in water because they couldn't bear their own weight. It's interesting to look at, and it may seem funny to us, and in a way it is maybe a bit funny, but it doesn't mean that those people were not doing their work right. They actually, what Melanie said, we build on what they came up with, and you need to sometimes posit an idea and send it out there, so somebody else's creativity is triggered to attack it from a different angle and either corroborate it or come up with a better solution to the problem.
And do you agree with that
I
misconception?
completely agree, and I'm not sure if I can find another bigger one. I mean, the only thing I can think of is that, and they are not the biggest. So yeah, no. I mean, I could think of some conflicts that are around because some people, when they do their research, they get stuck to what they have found, and even though they get disproven later, they don't want to be disproven, so they hold on and they grasp on, and then they have to review somebody's grant proposal, and then they say, yeah, but birds are not dinosaurs, and then you're the only paleontologist in the world who still believes that, and then you just dismiss someone's entire work because of that.
Also, my brother-in-law looks like he could beat up some hockey players.
Oh.
Dennis, you want to find some hockey players?
Hockey players.
He's really not violent.
It's not going to happen on a hockey field anytime soon.
I've met a lot of men in my life, but Dennis is really he's really sweet. Let's just keep it at
He
that.
will likely
looks
see
rough.
he will likely see the hockey players and be like,
Can I buy you a
you guys want a
beer?
beer or something?
I knew it. Yeah, I've met a lot of men in my life, but yeah, no, Dennis is he's got a good heart. What else do we have? Is the evolution of our type of intelligence inevitable? Would you?
Our type of intelligence.
Are we necessarily smarter than animals because,
We like to think, because we are humans, we hold intelligence in very high regard because it's noble and it's wise, but intelligence is merely an adaptation to our environment.
Yeah.
I mean, a bird, actually birds are very intelligent as well, but a bird may not
it's
necessarily...
more instinctual intelligence, I feel.
I've never seen a human being stand flat on the ground and just get up into the air and fly away, and most of modern birds can do that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's... I would say that evolution has naturally sort of explores options. Again, it's not a conscious thing, but that's the pattern we see if we look back on it. And there's a lot of weird and fascinating adaptations that came out of it. And intelligence happens to be one of them. We lived on the savanna, the forests were opening. We didn't have big claws like a lion. We were not as quick as a cheetah. We were obviously not as strong as an elephant. So we had to come up with something else to maintain our survival. And it's by sheer development of intelligence that allowed us to start using tools, to know how to climb into a tree, things
and
like that.
There are some remnants from primeval instincts left in humans. There's a thing that I tested out with, my ex. When he slept, I would put my hand fairly close to his face, in the middle of him sleeping, like REM sleep. He was gone. I made sound, he was gone. But the moment that my hand was really close to his face, nearly touching him, he would wake up. He would
I'm not surprised.
wake up.
I'm not
Because
surprised.
it seems to me like a very primeval instinct that your body, it's like it needs to be safe.
It's similar to fight, flight, or fear.
Yeah.
That's the basic brain
Yeah.
that everybody has, everything alive has.
Yeah.
And that's the principal reaction
Just
that
like
you can get
you're a mom now, and before you were a mom, you probably slept deeper.
through fire alarms.
Exactly, that's what I mean. And
And now
now
I hear him breathe. Yeah.
you hear everything because it's your primeval instinct now to take care of him and make sure that he's always safe.
And I like this question. Sam,
Yeah, I put
coming
it
from someone with almost zero paleontology knowledge, what are the odds of ever finding a whole dinosaur, not current bird,
very smart.
frozen in ice?
I doubt there's
highly.
any ice that survived 66 million
exactly.
years.
Yeah.
So the thing is, no, I think there was no.
There
polar
was
ice
no
caps
polar
in-
ice during the dinosaur era, and then when the meteorite hit, you get this in incredible heat pulse. Yes, it became cold after, but you have to imagine like similar to like a curtain of debris and heat and fire going all around the earth after the impact. So no, I don't think it's likely, if there was any snow or even ice at that stage, that it made it until now with a dinosaur inside.
I see questions
sorry.
about like Finnish people and stuff. Finland doesn't exist. It's the joke. So get on board, get on Reddit. Finland doesn't exist. No, it was like that the Finnish people have the highest percentage of Neanderthal DNA, but I'm not sure about that, if that's correct, because I've not
I mean, I don't
looked
know.
into the distribution
I don't
of
know many
Neanderthal
Finnish
DNA.
people. I do study a little bit on the Swedish language because I try to get around. So I know there's a lot of like Finno-Swedish, and the Finns and the Swedes have an extremely long history, and they're friendly. But I mean, everybody knows that the Finns just like
They don't
are-
exist.
no. I mean, I think they're like incredibly robust people with. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong, but I really love Formula One, and I'm really gonna miss the Iceman. So all I have to think about right now is, wow.
Yeah, no. What hominin ancestors do you believe Sasquatch evolved from? I don't believe Sasquatch is real. So
Show me Sasquatch, and I'll tell you where you evolved from.
yeah, exactly. But like an actual photo, not a Photoshop.
No, exactly. I have no idea.
So are the dinosaurs just giant chickens?
Well, I mean, some of them are.
No, giant chickens are dinosaurs.
Giant chicken. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Good job.
Yeah.
Which came first, a flight or flop? And how many flops does it take to finally fly?
Well, likely flop, I think.
Well, but
Probably.
Yeah.
it's a bit of a general question because flight, I assume you're talking about the flight of birds, but obviously other animals developed flight earlier as well.
Yep. Giant
And the jury is
dragonflies.
officially still out on how they got into proper flight, because you can start to flop and then suddenly get off the ground and a bit further, but you can also jump down from a higher perch and then you're more gliding, and if that is not flight but it turned into active flight, then that's been proposed for pterosaurs, for example. And pterosaurs were the first land vertebrates to take to the air.
What was the strangest, or is the strangest thing that you have ever found?
Can we do the one above
Oh.
as well, though?
You want to talk about if the moon is actually hollow or
It
not?
could never be hollow. It could never be hollow. All the bodies in our solar system are going around each other because of gravity. If it was hollow, it would just like
Gravity and
collapse
mass.
on its own.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Poor
Okay,
moon.
next. What was the strangest, or is the strangest thing you've ever found? I mean, I was not the first who found it. There's a paper published in 2019 by Robert Palma in 2019. But the strangest thing I ever found was fish with impact spherules in their gills.
Yeah.
They died because the meteorite impacted that killed the dinosaurs, and these fish died on that day.
Yeah.
That was the strangest thing I ever found.
And Dennis? Strangest thing you
Ooh,
have
that I've
ever
ever found? That's a good question. Because I would like to think about finding something physically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I.
Finding
That's also.
yeah,
I mean,
that's
I
how
dug them up
read it.
physically. That's
Yeah,
also
yeah,
why
yeah.
I.
Uh, I was telling you this story earlier. It's
Yeah.
not actually that cool of that special of a story, but when I was in London, went to collect fossil shark teeth just on for a hobby on an afternoon near Abbey Wood, and they're Eocene shark teeth, and I knew people actually found some rare fossils of land-living mammals there. And I was looking around, I found my fossil shark teeth, and then I actually found a tiny little claw. And I took it to the Natural History Museum and I showed them my shark teeth, and they're like, yeah, proper shark teeth. And then I showed them the claw, and I was like, what is this then? And then the gentleman looked over it, and with a very serious look on his face, he said, you actually found a modern squirrel claw. So, and I was,
Perfect.
I don't want to say I was convinced it was something else. I just hoped it was, but to then be told that within like my shark teeth, and then like, oh, but what is this? Yeah, it's from a squirrel that lived here yesterday.
Yeah. I have a question for the both of you, but I have not seen anyone ask this, and I'm kind of like sad. What would you say to young kids who like dinosaurs? Would you want them to pursue a career in paleontology? I mean, it doesn't pay much. Like, there's no big paleo. There's no big paleo.
No, it really depends. If you want to be able to get a mortgage, I
Yeah.
recommend a different career, because that's rough. We're still renting, and I know many of our colleagues are as well, because it's
Yeah.
almost impossible to get a mortgage. We're not the house
But if you're
buying
working for the
kind of-
passion,
I mean, it's an amazing job. Every day you spend working on this, it's.
does it feel like work?
I mean, work is work,
Yeah,
but it
but-
doesn't drain.
Yeah.
It doesn't wear you out. But I mean, that's also a bit of a state of mind in a way, because
Yeah.
I know that there's paleontologists that can get incredibly stressed about work still, even though they enjoy it.
Yeah. I mean, I love YouTube, but then it can stress me out.
yeah,
of
yeah,
course. Like,
exactly. You
on
can feel like,
Tuesday-
oh, I've got people expecting things of me,
Yeah,
and I
on
want to.
Tuesday I actually had to film, and
The
I
thing
didn't.
is about paleontology is it's not like math. It's not like you can get the highest grades and then you're the best, so you'll get hired and you'll move on. In paleontology, there's an element of luck. You need to be lucky that you're in the right place, finding the right fossils, or working with the right people, allowing you to study the right fossils. And with the right fossils, I mean the sexy, hot deal, nice stuff that people want to read about.
Yeah.
You need to be lucky to do that. And when you do, and you work in that, then your career will like shoot off. And then still you can fight for 4 years to get a grant. And if you fail, you won't have a job.
Yeah.
So in our case, I think we're cherishing every minute we can spend on this, every week we can work on this, every year we can do on this, but we're both aware that we don't even know if in 4 years we'll still be in this field, because academia, and not just paleontology, but academia
Yeah.
is rough.
Also, hi Matt from Ancient Architects. I completely
Hello.
missed everything because, I mean, we're about 10, maybe 15 minutes
Oh,
behind on
It's
questions
just getting
right now.
worse.
It's, yeah,
Sorry guys.
yeah.
Time Team, yeah, I love Time Team.
She really, really.
Not as much as him though. I mean, don't get me wrong, I went all excited, but that's because
Time
of
Team
him.
fans.
He introduced me to Time Team. We love Time Team. I follow everybody who's on Twitter from Time Team. Time Team's great.
Yeah, they made me watch
We
Time
watched
Team as well.
everything.
So, yeah. Henrik asks, what are your thoughts on Homo Longi?
I don't know all the Homo. No pun intended. So I don't know this one. Forgive me. They're very young humans. I don't
Yeah.
really study them.
Yeah. What else do we have? Have you been to the Badlands in the US? Lots of bones to dig there.
Yep. Did my master thesis there. Studied a very specific locality from the Hell Creek. Should be published in a bit.
Tom Collins, no, they have not dated a mummy. They are paleontologists, which means that they don't do anything that has anything to do with
Also,
humans, it's
we
older.
don't date. We're already
I
seeing
get
each
the
other.
joke. I get the joke. They may not, but I do. Have you ever been on a date with a mummy?
Yeah, that's what I said.
And
We're
so-
not dating.
yeah,
Mummies,
yeah.
we've got each other.
Yeah. But okay, I'm not gonna say that both of you are mummies.
Ah, well.
So I mean,
I'm not that dry.
that's so Dutch. Oh my god. I live near Winterswijk, but if I remember correctly, that's Trias.
Yep, it's a Muschelkalk, a younger middle Triassic. It is Trias. Trias in Dutch is Triassic in English. Exactly.
Fun fact from Henrik. Scandia is named after the Jotun Skadi.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah. We
Okay.
took a picture of
keeper
that.
of arms and goddess.
So
of
there's a lot of
skiing in winter.
rune stones around Uppsala, and there's one with, I'm gonna butcher this, Jotun Skadi on it. So we've seen it, and actually it's the same rune stone that has Odin on it, which is what we named our son. So we have some pictures of it. If you want it, I can fetch it from my pictures that I took in the last
I
year
can send
somewhere.
them to
Yeah,
you.
but it's
yes.
really, it looks really weird because
looks
it's a
so
rune
goofy.
stone and there's a guy on skis.
On skis.
Okay, that's dope. Oh,
Yeah.
We're all mad here. This is the real mad.
Yeah, no, but I embrace
Yes.
all of you.
Yes. I mean, I love this. This is not a question, but I do love it. Let's see, what else? Because we're like so far behind.
No, let's go further.
Yeah, let's go further. Okay.
How cold
Ancient
is it
architects.
here?
When your sister and partner set up a paleontology channel, your family will take over YouTube. I mean, they've set it up. They've just not done anything with it.
we got an amazing name, and I spent 2 nights making a logo.
Yeah.
But that's it. You want to tell the name?
Sorry?
Do you want to tell the
No,
name?
let's keep it a secret
Yeah?
for now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
okay.
I will share links.
Yeah,
eventually.
yeah.
Okay. But I'll make an announcement on
Yeah,
my
no,
channel.
you're putting us to work now.
I'm gonna put them to work, guys, because this is helping. I've been
Yeah,
trying
thanks.
to
So
get
I
them
can
to
take
work for a
Rolf's
while.
question. What, in your
Yes.
opinion, scientifically is the most interesting fossil ever found in the Netherlands? And then, because I remember you're from around Winterswijk, in Winterswijk they found a new species. It's named Palaeontologist blakeri. And when they did an analysis, they actually found it was the most ancestral form of the group of sea-living animals that actually also include the plesiosaurs. So it's not an ancestor to the plesiosaurs, but it's very close to the last ancestor of all Sauropterygia,
Yeah.
which is Notosaurs.
Which I showed you this afternoon. in the
Yeah.
museum.
Yeah.
I'm being asked. This is kind of on very off topic by Giphy, but is that a Cherokee or Comanche on your brother-in-law's shirt?
It was a very cheap shirt. I think it's a bit of both, but I always like to think it's a Cherokee. I don't know. It's very hard to show, and I'm even below it, so maybe.
Yeah,
I think
show
the
it.
front is really quite.
So yeah,
It looked like a Cherokee to me.
He does
so.
like cars.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So to be fair, we once walked in the mall in Czech Republic when you were still doing your PhD there. 2015 or 16, we walked into a store. I saw this shirt, and I think it was like €1. So I was like, I'm buying this for you, and he wears it. So I mean,
I mean, you bought it for him, so of course he
yeah, I
wears
bought
it.
all his shirts though by now.
Ah, very true. Let's see, what else do we have for questions? Because it's a lot. Your thoughts on giants? I'm on the fence. I've not seen conclusive evidence.
You think that brain volume is a good indicator for hominin intelligence? No. I'm not saying brain volume alone. I'm saying brain volume as compared to us modern humans is an indicator of them compared to us, and it does not look bad for Neanderthals. So I
Yeah.
mean, I did not make an
Plus-
insult here. It's just that when you look at like Homo erectus, for instance, then you see a lot less brain volume. But to be fair, the volume doesn't necessarily even mean the space the brain took. It means the space the brain had.
Yeah.
And also, it's not about the mass of the brain, it's about the intricate connections within the brain. So no, brain volume alone doesn't say enough. But if you want to compare and you only have a skull, then that's what you have.
Yeah. Tony, Wild Weasel asks, if you could make one trip and back in a time machine, what time period would you go?
Early Middle Triassic.
And Dennis?
Yeah, I have to come along.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean,
I mean, you could have chosen a separate trip and took her with you. I mean,
well, we did long distance already.
Yeah, we did that for 5 years.
I don't
man.
want to have millions of years between us.
okay,
so-
okay, I can understand. And for me, it would be probably ancient Egypt. Yeah, I
If
want
you
to
go
see
I'm not
them.
surprised.
Any period, it would be ancient Egypt.
Yeah, because like I do love the Celts and I do love like the mound builders in Ireland. They fascinate me.
I mean, if you look
greatly.
at the origin of first civilizations, then ancient Egypt, and that's thanks to the Nile, is one of the few that actually made it.
Yeah,
So I'm not surprised.
yeah,
Well, there's a very funny thought experiment related to that, because the question if time travel will ever be possible, people have tried to answer it with no by saying, well, certainly people would have visited like Jesus, and there's no records of people from other times having come to see Jesus. So,
But what if Jesus himself was the time traveler?
ooh, spicy.
I'm sorry, I'm not religious.
Spicy
I
thoughts.
don't mean to hurt feelings.
No, that's all right. I mean, you can always like leave your thoughts. What else do we have? When are you coming to North America? I mean, when the plane tickets aren't this expensive.
Yeah, and I mean, in our case, when we can go again.
Henrik, I'm not evil, and I don't experiment on people when they're vulnerable. Henrik,
What do you think she did?
you want to fight with me?
Oh no,
He
okay.
doesn't even come and play golf with friends with me and my friends. Like Henrik. The
Aw.
He always leaves me hanging. Let's see.
Neither birds nor Finland exist.
Okay, I like
Okay.
that. Yep, that I can agree. Is the flight or fight regions of the brain getting smaller since we're living with a more domestic lifestyle? I mean, not that I know. We still have people with like anxiety disorders, and it has to do with the fight or flight part of the brain. So no.
I mean,
not getting
it's also
smaller.
not the type of the side. It's not the same part of the brain that evolved that made us necessarily intelligent.
Yeah.
Like your prefrontal cortex allows you to think ahead and to
Yeah.
overthink and to process information, and I think that that's the part that really grew
Yeah.
in the last I don't know how millions of years, but the basal part of the brain, which has the fight or flight reflexes, has always been there and is still there, but that's not necessarily growing because of our current lifestyle.
Yeah.
I think actually less, because we don't necessarily face that many threats,
Yeah.
but the ones we face are different for sure.
Let's see. What else do we have? Die omhoog. Here's an interesting concept. We know tons of examples in animals where they show they can sense and are affected by electromagnetic forces. Maybe humans have also had this sense, but it isn't nourished. It's possible.
Well, I mean, there's like fish and shark that have these. How do you call them? The papillae.
Electrosensory.
Yeah, they have these electrosensory nervous systems, but we can detect that they have this. We can measure this. It is visible on their skin. We don't have such a thing.
Yeah.
So I'm again, absence of evidence. I wouldn't rule it out. I'm not that type of person, but there's absolutely nothing pointing to
Also-
us
No,
having
but there
such
is
a
a
detection
very funny
system.
thing is that, so snakes, right? They would stick out their forked tongue. They will sample the air and then they stick it back into the palate. And they have two little
Holes.
dips.
Yeah.
They stick it in there. And there's the Jacobson's organ, the vomeronasal organ. So it's like slightly heavier molecules than the ones you can normally smell. But if you oppose the tongue to there, you can smell these molecules.
And you
And
can
in
smell
stereo.
in
because
stereo, yeah.
It's with both. And we think snakes are unique, but a version of that organ is actually what we know horses have as well, because they pull up their lip and they actually sample the air with that as well.
Some people think some people get scared when horses do that because
they were laughing
it looks
when I
like
was young.
either they're laughing or it looks because they show teeth and horses rarely show teeth.
Yeah.
So for a lot of people it's like, whoa, what's that horse doing? They're smelling.
It's a sensory thing, and I mean, if horses have it and snakes have it,
cats do it sort of.
I wouldn't be surprised.
They put their tongue. My cats did at least. Sometimes they smelled your feet and they were like.
Yeah. My cats did that
It was
too.
it was like either my foot smelled bad. Sorry, cat. But on the other hand, they were processing something that they had
with
smelled,
their tongue,
and I think that it had to do with like your pheromones because they did it with like your armpits as well. It's like the feet and the armpits were the two places.
The strong smelling things I used to think. And
so,
my ex had smelly shoes, so they always like stood around that like.
Yeah.
And I was like, are you okay?
No, it smells. Also, Matt from Ancient Architects wants that fish fossil. He's not going to ever get it, but like... It's
we scanned it, so you should be able to 3D print it later on.
It's possible. Let's see, what else do we have? Let's see. We're so behind.
Sorry, guys.
Okay, and we skipped all the way back because this happens. I'm probably not going to find where we ended.
It fell forward.
Yeah, it does that because it took too long. And then YouTube's like, this takes too long. Okay, Henrik, let's say a dinosaur magically appeared in modern time. Would it be able to breathe?
Don't see why not.
No, that's a good question. No, there is an idea that...
About the amount of oxygen.
Yeah, that they would not be able to survive today. I'm not saying that's true, but I'm aware of this being a thing. But we shouldn't forget that, and this is no joke whatsoever, birds have quite a different lung and air circulation system than, for example, mammals do. And as you may know, dinosaurs actually had, it's a very funny word, but I'm talking about air sacs, a sac. Air sacs in the bones that may be in connection with their respiratory system.
Especially the long-necked dinosaurs.
Yeah, and then dinosaurs, a lot of them also have gastralia, which are belly ribs, which we don't have. They're not connected to the vertebral column whatsoever, but they may all aid in their respiratory apparatus. So although we know more and more about how they breathe, we still cannot directly sample the air from back then. There are ways to get some indications, but it's hard to pinpoint that exactly.
Also, for the people wondering, none of us three is Swedish.
No.
I've seen people that are like the Swedish accents and whatever. This is all
Swedish
Dutch.
accents.
Yeah, I just
you know
have
what
a
else
poor
is great?
English
Swedish
accent.
accents. Love them. But like I already saw
I'm
some people.
I'm so sorry. Jag förstår lite svenska och jag talar lite svenska, men jag är nederländska.
And I had no idea what she just said.
I said I speak and understand Swedish, but I'm Dutch.
Yes, we are. All three of us are very Dutch. The new time team. Have you guys?
Not yet, no. But I've seen exactly what he's seen. I've seen the fact that they're back, that they've announced that they're going to be back.
There was no time to watch.
I'm generally speaking, I'm behind a month at least, like on
in life,
on any media.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. What else do we have? Henrik wants to see that runestone. Well, then you have to like travel to the dark side, Henrik. Alva Kohlberg, what qualifications do you need as a paleontologist, and what subject should a person study?
I would say as a qualification, and you're probably not gonna think this one is a logical one, but persistence, because there's a lot of people that like studying extinct animals that want to be a paleontologist, but it's hard to push through. You're gonna have to apply for at least like 40 jobs before you get one. So persistence. What you should study, you've got two ways. You can take the biology route and you can take the geology route. We both took the geology route, but that also means that you spend your free time looking into the biology bit because you're not picking it up during your undergrads.
Yeah.
But so we've both done a bachelor's and master's in earth sciences, and now he finished his PhD in zoology, and I'm doing my PhD in well, I say zoology, but zoology paleontology,
Yeah.
and in my case as well, organismal biology paleontology.
Yeah. Odin, for your son, you were so my hero. Also, James, Odin was born on a Wednesday.
Yeah, on
So it was
onsdag.
on the 11th of the.
And if you
11.
switch the letters around, you get to Dino.
Yep. It was very. They thought about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Because we joked in the family that they were gonna call their son Dino.
Are all the different species of dinosaur different species, or do you think that some of the species are the same but at different stages of development? That's a really good question.
Gary
And I
Lloyd.
think that's one question that at least every referee or reviewer asks or should ask
Yeah.
when a new species is presented, because it's sometimes really hard to tell. If you for instance grab a young boy and you compare his skeleton to that of an old man, it's going to look really different, or even an old woman, because there's also such a thing as sexual dimorphism. But ontogeny, so the development from young to old, it can really set you off, and some species change a lot, but also vice versa. There have been occasions where people are already convinced, oh, it's just the juvenile form of, but it could still be a different species.
This actually happened today when we were at the museum, when we saw a skeleton, and I immediately thought that it was a Triceratops, and it was a
Pentaceratops.
Pentaceratops, that was it.
Yeah.
And
Or as we like to say, same family but different ornamentation on the head. It's
unclear if it's completely a different species.
I wouldn't say that. I think that the people who studied it are certain, because it went through the review process, and I'm not going to argue with that. And also, I didn't study the Pentaceratops, so it's not my place. But
a very important thing to know is that in biology, a species is that group of organisms that can reproduce and yield fertile offspring.
which is
And
something
this
we
is
cannot
one
test.
thing you cannot test for extinct animals.
Yeah.
So we come up with morphological indicators for disparity between individuals or populations. And
It's like a donkey and a horse. They can reproduce, but their offspring cannot reproduce.
yes.
Yeah.
But like with the modern humans, Homo sapiens and Neanderthals, or Homo sapiens and Denisovans, they were able to reproduce, and their offspring was also able to reproduce, which is why we have.
But
a
even on
percentage of that
some
in
rare
our DNA.
occasions, I believe lions and tigers can create offsprings that can
Yeah.
reproduce. So there's something. But the thing is, like Dennis said, and that's the challenge when it comes to paleontology, we cannot really watch them have sex for multiple generations. We don't have that. We have some bones.
Yeah, you have bones.
And we need to set a certain standard for when is it different. But to be fair, I mean, there are researchers that just really, 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 really want it to be a new species, and they will argue for it until somebody will publish that it is the case. And that is a challenge that we have to deal with. And quite often that if it gets disproven, then subsequently in if you look throughout the research that follows, people will try to test that hypothesis and see if it could not be explained by ontogeny, so again growing up from baby to old, or sexual dimorphism. But I mean, just think of Quasimodo, somebody with a giant hunchback, a big head and a lumpy. If you find that as a fossil, you say, "Oh, this is a different kind of hominin."
The Robert Pizer, between Kaylee and Melanie, who caused more mischief growing up?
Oh, me.
I was the kid
She
that
was.
tried to be good.
I love you. No. I love you, but you were a little bit the rat. You were like, Melanie did this, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna kill her.
But that's what
We
the
love
youngest
each other
sister
now.
does.
We love each other now.
That's the job of the youngest sister. It's never my fault. It was them. You know? Look at me, I'm cute.
She was like, I'm 11. My sister's 14. This is strange, aspirin. It says Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
No,
Thursday.
I did that with
Wednesday.
I did with
I
that
know,
with
I know.
Jamie.
Not with me, but my oldest sister.
I
Yeah.
didn't know what the birth control pill was. No
Yeah.
one told me.
And that's how she lost them.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite fossils in your personal collection? I like my trilobite and mosasaur fossils. My sister actually has a trilobite tattoo. Or yeah,
Should I show it?
yeah, you could. I mean, if you want your feet on the internet forever.
I'm gonna just not show my toenails because my nail polish is like from this summer.
Trilobite.
Hello.
She's very proud of it.
It's like 10 years old more.
Yeah, it's older. It's more than 10 years
No,
old.
no, it's 10 years old. 10 years old. Yeah.
Every summer when she goes and
I
walks
take
in
it
like
into
sandals,
the water. I
she
take it
takes
back home.
into the water. She takes it into the sand. There are always pictures with like her sandals and the beautiful trilobite, taking it for a spin. You know, yeah.
No.
I mean, it's what you have to do.
Yeah.
But like, what are some of your favorite fossils? That I do believe that you collected yourself. You know,
Well, I mean,
in your collection.
to be fair, if I would find something that really, really, really is like on a scientific level valuable,
Mm-hmm.
I would make sure that it gets into a collection and not my own. I would
Yeah.
make sure that it gets.
But it's your favorite in your personal collection. What's your favorite in your
I
personal
would
collection?
I would say it's not something I found. It's something that was gifted to me from Jan Smit, my former supervisor. He's one of the discoverers of the Chicxulub impact together with Walter Alvarez. Not together, but at the same time. But they're massive friends, even though they sort of competed with that. But he gave me some teeth of mammals, of the surviving mammals from the KT boundary. And yeah, that to me is, I think the most amazing fossils I have. But to be fair, I'm very good at finding tiny, crappy fossils. I'm really, really good at finding not impressive stuff.
And Dennis, what's your favorite fossil in your collection?
So, quite close to where I did my PhD, I found the skull of
Oh,
a
yeah.
Discosaurus.
I was there.
Which is a amphibian from the Permian, I believe, which I really hold close because we went on an excursion with a good friend of mine just into the woods, and I came across it, and I found a Tenistropheus vertebra, which I am still looking for. It's still missing, and I need to find it because I
I
promised a
went
friend
through
of
his
mine.
entire collection to help him find it, and we didn't. I think we spent like 2 whole days.
Yeah, and because I've not seen because it was completely made out of pyrite.
And
it's-
pyrite eats up your fossils. It's metastable, so it will continue to grow and use the minerals around it to
and-
grow into. So likely by the time that we rediscover his Tenistropheus vertebrae,
It's going to be a
It's gonna be-
Tenistropheus vertebra shaped hole in a rock.
Oh,
And then
that's
if I may
sad.
add one more, I was
sure.
doing unrelated sort of field work in Spain on the coast in the latest Maastrichtian strata just a few million years before the KT boundary. And these rocks are quite deep sea, and we saw only shells and sea urchins. And then I found a tooth this big. I think it may be mosasaur. I had an expert look at it. He thinks it may also be a crocodile. But there was such a weird find, and I had a particularly rough day that day because my things were not matching up. And I saw it, and I was like, wow. So
yeah.
that
That's
was
dope.
that was really cool.
Henrik asks, did raptors or any species of dinosaur hunt in groups by chance or through coordination?
I love how you put that because I mean raptors include owls.
Oh.
Well,
Birds
raptors
of
is
prey.
informally it's dromaeosaurs, right? So
Mhm.
that's Deinonychus, Velociraptor, and all those. And
Could they have hunted in groups, do you
they
think?
could,
They could, yeah.
possible.
but it's a bit of a popularized by I think Jurassic
Yeah.
Yeah.
Park.
But like when you look at like lionesses, they usually hunt in like the more than one because the chances of actually catching something is bigger when there's more than one.
Yeah,
so
but
it is possible.
With all due respect, that's a bit of a poor example
Yeah.
because they're the only cats that sort of hunt in groups.
Yeah, and
We
also
see it
the
more
only
in
group
dogs
of top
and
predators today
hyenas,
that do so.
Yeah.
So I would certainly not exclude the possibility. If you look at modern like birds of prey, they tend to not hunt in groups if that's a thing. But yeah, it may be possible.
Sam is wondering, another one for all of you. What are your favorite myths?
That dinosaurs are extinct.
Like that one. Dennis?
My favorite myths.
The
Oh,
monster of Loch Ness.
well, it's a very cool. I mean, if it was true, let's go with that. Thank you. I was on an excursion in Scotland. We drove past the Loch Ness.
Yeah, I drove past it too.
We're all 100,000% sure there's no monster in there, and I made sure to sit next to the window for the entire ride around
I did
the
the
loch.
same excursion a couple of years later, and I was also
Yeah.
on the window like,
Where is he?
I'm gonna see it.
Nessie. For me, favorite myths is that the ancient civilizations weren't intelligent or weren't able to create what we see, what they left behind. That's, to me, it's a
Well,
big myth.
now that you say that, that reminds me a little bit of like the I'm gonna butcher this. Is it the Waldmanstatten? The lines in
Wittmannsstatten
pattern.
the pattern in meteorites that is like perfectly geometrical. Yeah, we saw it
that
today.
today. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
But also crystal structures like metallic crystals are in principle cubic. Quite often people think that, oh, it's so perfectly straight, a human must have done it. And no, the less life actually interferes, the more cubic it will be, almost. So that's,
Yeah.
I think, that's like a big misconception that, I like that one.
And what are my thoughts on Gobekli Tepe? I mean, it's an amazing site, but Gobekli Tepe is not alone. Go check out Ancient Architects because he's the master of Tepe. I've officially crowned him the master of Tepe because look at the Testapeller sites. It's more than one site. I think it's 12 sites. They're all massive, and I mean, go research it for fun.
I like what Mula is saying. Thank you. It's very, very promising.
As a subscriber to many paleontology channels, and after seeing you on this stream, I'd say that your channel would stand out and become very popular.
We'll do our very, very best.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's really kind of you. Thank you. What else do we have?
Question for Melanie and Dennis. Do you think ley lines actually exist?
And how many Malibus does Kaylee really have in one glass? First of all,
This is
Cola.
Silicola. We actually bought her a bottle of Malibu, and I've so far had to help her.
Yeah.
She's like a very poor alcoholic.
A really poor alcoholic. Like, honestly, I tell everyone always, like, I have maybe 1 or 2 drinks a week. And that's a lot.
Do we think ley lines actually...
Leilijnen.
Yeah, leylijnen.
Well, they exist in literature.
Yeah.
People talk about them. I don't know, wichelroede in English.
Dowsing rods.
Dowsing
rods, yes.
I'm extremely skeptical. And then
As am I.
I worked as an archaeologist, and I had to, my speciality was to take a hand auger, drill into the ground with a big diameter, take up the material, sieve it, and see if there's any archaeological artifacts or indicators in there. Sometimes you have to do this in a village, and you don't want to hit water line, power line, anything like that. And I was there in a little park on the same day that another gentleman was doing the same, but for environmental probing.
Mm-hmm.
This guy took out 2 small rods and walked across the street. And I'm like, what are you doing? I have a map here where everything is. Here's a water line, there's a power line. He said, yes, but there's another street and I don't have a map for that. I said, I don't have a map either. He was using this thing and he pinpointed where one was. On the one hand, of course, I didn't stay long enough around and he didn't want to hit it. So he obviously didn't probe there. I will never be sure if there was actually a line there. But this guy came in a work van. He did like it was the most normal thing ever. And I was fascinated. He gave me a pair as well. I tried it myself. Whatever abilities he had or did not have, I don't have them for sure. But I was properly fascinated and I actually looked into it. So to answer your question about ley lines, I'm not sure. I remain unconvinced, but open to a solid explanation. But what I saw that day with that guy with so much conviction doing it, just like in his work, that made an impression on me.
To a Socratic method, do the appearance of pyramidal structures around the world show evidence of a global pre-Diluvian civilization? I would say no, because I've personally not seen any evidence for pyramids of the pre-Diluvian timeline. They're all younger. And I've covered the oldest pyramid in the world, which is the Step Pyramid of Djoser. I mean, yeah, no, it's too young for pre-Diluvian civilizations. And like the Bosnian Pyramid, it's not a pyramid, like I said earlier. So, yeah, no. Also, Enkidu Falling said that we are the ancient aliens a while ago. But yeah, sort of, yeah.
I guess.
We are I see humans as the alien species on this planet.
We are, yeah.
We need clothes. We need houses and buildings and warmth to survive.
Well, I mean, we've evolved
badly
to...
adapted.
Oh, or not, because
Yeah.
we did adapt, because we made those clothes.
Yeah.
So, yes and no.
Yeah, but like where animals...
But I mean, you can tell the difference. I mean, if we, especially, I mean, don't get me wrong, but I'm not from around here. Last week it was like -20 during the day. Or
It's
actually
not
earlier
fun.
this week, -20 during the day.
Yeah, on Monday.
And I just checked with my colleagues, like, this is cold, right? This is not normal for like beginning of December, right? And they were like, no, this is not normal. This is like cold.
Yeah.
And everybody agrees. But if we suddenly decide to move to Africa, then we'll just blister our skin and get ruined. Because that's the thing with complexity. The more complex you get, and we've gotten to the stage that we're so complex that we cannot just live. We have to adapt
Yeah.
every time we go somewhere because we're that complex. So we need that extra coat. We need that sunscreen.
We need to acclimate.
We need the humidifier in the house because the humidity level is like 20%. We need to adapt to live. And that's just going to get worse in the way that the world is currently going.
Henrik asks, thoughts on what dinosaurs sounded like?
Have not yet found a fossilized, what's it called, larynx?
No, but they did find
Is that
a pre-bird dinosaur that had a searing. So
yeah.
we have a larynx, but birds have actually two larynx-like structures in either bronchia, and they can also harmonize with each other. Really cool. And they actually found that an early Cretaceous bird-like dinosaur, some people call them proto-birds, already had it, but it's very hard. The Parasaurolophus, the one with the big thing, the hollow resonance chamber, they've done some experiments with that, and some sounds came out.
I mean,
of
it
that,
will
but
resonate sound also because it's hollow, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they use it to resonate sound.
How do Swedish people celebrate the winter solstice, December 21st?
Well, not as much as the summer solstice. I mean, to be fair,
Midsummer.
if you want the biggest holiday in Sweden in the year, it's summer solstice.
Yeah.
Not Yule or Christmas as they call it. I mean, technically speaking, all in Europe celebrates winter solstice by celebrating Christmas. We've given it the religious label and shifted it 4 days in the future or something like that. But it's still, we're celebrating winter solstice.
Yeah.
All of us. And in Sweden, it's dark. It's really, really, really dark. And I don't know if you can see the lights behind Dennis there, but that's what they started with at first Advent. I think we've now had second or maybe even third already. But we decided to adapt. So we put the lights up as well because it gets so dark here.
So,
the sun sets before 3 in the afternoon.
I live in the Netherlands, as you know. We've both born there, all three of us, and the sun goes down around 4:30.
I miss that
at like the end of December.
I miss that.
Yeah, I arrived here on Wednesday. I landed
3:30.
No, well at 3:10 I was on the ground.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
So I've seen the sun go down while I was still in the air. And the pretty blue sky with like beautiful white clouds became one great whoosh. Because, I mean, there was no sunlight. It was really dark. And by the time I got to your car, which was not even half an hour later, it was dark. It was pitch black.
Yeah.
It's, I see the sun go down at like, 2:50 in the afternoon, like 10 minutes before 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah, I think it's even...
And at like 3:15, you look outside and it looks like 9 p.m. in like a normal autumn day.
Yeah.
It's so surreal. And you start
really
yawning because you get tired because everywhere you look it's dark. And it's all artificial light. It's really, my body is not adapted to this, and by the time I get home I'll be like wide awake at like
Yeah.
10 p.m. in the
It's
evening.
spring
because
again.
Yeah, it actually
Wow.
sets at 2:45 already right
Yeah,
now.
exactly. Like
Yeah.
it's weird. Like we
Yeah,
wanted to.
we have 6 hours and 7 minutes of daylight at the moment, and the least I believe is actually under 6.
Yeah, we
Um,
wanted to go to see burial mounds today, and she had to work, and we had to postpone that to tomorrow because the sun was already going down.
No, and also it really didn't show up today. It was
Oh,
just a great day.
It was a great day. So
Yeah.
it's. I mean,
We're
didn't
gonna
lose
do it
anything.
tomorrow, and tomorrow I will not work. I promised her. She's
No,
watched
that's
me
all
work
right.
for
I
2
mean,
days now.
What she was working on was really important. So, awesome tattoo says says Henrik. What species of trilobites is that?
I don't know the species. I know the genus, and I've written it down.
Great.
I don't know.
So
it by heart.
once she'll.
I'll
have
give
that,
you.
I
I find it.
Yeah.
I know I can find it in a split second.
split second. History with Kaylee. Ever Vince
I've written it
Plotko
down.
asks this. Ever heard of a company called Bone Clones? They make accurate replicas
Yeah.
of fossils. They have a website. I mean, I see two people nodding here, which to me is like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we heard
Good
of them.
question.
Yeah, they're
They've
quite-
heard of them.
Quite good quality.
Yeah,
At least some of them, the
I've-
ones I've seen, are quite
The ones
okay.
I've seen look good. I mean, it doesn't sound bad.
Okay.
Doesn't look bad.
Good. That's awesome.
But we've no experience with them.
no experience. Okay. You guys are great fun.
Thank you so much.
Thank
You're
you.
great fun as well.
I mean, just if there's a compliment, sometimes you just need to hear it. You know.
Mhm.
What else do we have? I see a crown from Matt from Ancient Architects. Yeah, I mean, I did crown you to Master of Tepe. What else do we have? Do you think the Egyptians built the pyramids? Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Like
I mean,
or they're slaves.
no, they weren't slaves. They
Oh,
were
sorry.
workers, honey. They were
Yeah,
paid
but-
with bread and
Okay.
beer.
See,
But it's a definition
she's the
thing as well.
historian.
They were
Well,
paid with bread and beer.
The
It's like,
pyramids are in Egypt.
Yeah.
So who else would have built them? The Norwegians?
yeah. Well, now that you say it, actually,
I love you.
Dennis is funny. What else do we have?
So it's a Kyrurus. My trilobite.
Henrik. Yeah. What is Sweden?
It's a country with roughly 10 million inhabitants, but still 1.2 million COVID deaths, so that's shocking. Sorry, COVID casualties, not deaths.
Yeah, no.
More
Otherwise, it would have been no, more beer, honey. More beer.
Just grabbed the wrong statistic here.
No, that's all right. I mean,
No,
I'm blonde.
it's,
She's
it's,
blonde, but now pink.
I've hidden it very well, I know.
Very
But no, it's a country. It's to be fair, it's where we live right now in Uppsala, or actually we're close to Gamla Uppsala, and specifically where we are is like the former capital of the Viking Empire. So that's why there's a lot of rune stones here. There's a lot of grave mounds here, or gravvelds here. So like grave fields where they have like
Grafvelden,
exactly, where they have like circles of gravestones, and so that's tomorrow. And before Kaylee leaves, we're gonna take her out to see as many of them as possible.
Neoteric Bedium asks, why pyramids? Is it because they resemble mountains? No, the reason they built pyramids is because when you want to build something really big, you need the weight to be distributed. And the perfect shape for that is a pyramid. Because you end up real high, but the weight gets distributed. And
But I do think that
default.
the opposite is true as well. I think many structures are confused to be pyramids because they are mountains.
Yeah,
and because
many mountains.
because people want them to be pyramids.
Yeah, it's like it has to do with the geology, and usually it has to do with like ice caps and things like that. So that's when you get left with a pyramidal shape, which is why I covered a couple of them lately.
Yeah, I see somebody stating the time, and I have to agree, even though
Yeah.
that's 8 minutes in the past.
Yeah, it is close to us stopping. So I'm gonna scroll down a bit further.
Yeah, see if we get something that we want to answer before we
maybe
leave.
one or two questions that we will answer, and then we will leave because it's getting late. Have we been to Miami? No, we have
No.
not.
Sadly.
Let's see, now we skipped We skipped.
Oh, well, okay. Well, that's how you go through them.
Yeah, I know it does that for me.
I know.
What else do we have?
Yeah, Northern Alberta.
Yeah,
Completely
Northern
butchered that.
Alberta. Yeah. it's
Likely
the
the same. We're at 59 degrees northern latitude, so I'm not sure exactly about Alberta, but I know it's also quite high up.
This is far north, at least. Yeah. What else do we have? Do you like Guinness?
Not as much as I would like to.
I would like to say I like Guinness very much. I mean, I will not spit it out, but it's not my poison.
No. What's your poison?
Well, I mean a cider before a Guinness.
Okay, I like that.
I'm a real boring lager drinker.
Matt is being a bit of a shit, but what's more likely? Aliens built the pyramids or Jurassic Park could happen?
Oh,
Like I said, he's
mean-
being a little bit of a shit.
I would like to take some LSD and just hypothesize this with you. Is that a good answer? I mean, I could probably spend all night talking about both possibilities, but I wouldn't necessarily consider any of them very likely.
Yeah, no.
But I'd still watch the movie.
Yeah, of course. I like Jurassic Park as well.
Okay. And don't do drugs, kids. I know, I just mentioned one.
I don't think kids watch me.
Good.
At least not as much.
Okay, good.
Everything below
Odin
18
is
is
gonna
like,
watch
eh.
this in 15 years from now.
Yeah, and he'll be like,
Perfect.
but Mom, you
Mom.
said you never did anything.
Mom, you did LSD? Yeah, no. What else do we have? Do we have one or two fun questions or not?
Are you trying to provoke them?
Yeah, of course. What else do we have? No, rune binding.
What does Viking husband do? Well, we're not married actually, but
Dennis, that's it.
Dennis, what do you do all day?
What do you do?
That's what I wonder as well.
Yeah, no.
I also work at the university, same department as Melanie.
Yeah.
There's literally an office wall between us.
Yeah, there was an entire wall.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I had to walk from one door to another to get to you.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a long walk.
So
Okay,
we
that
moved
was 10
1,600
steps.
kilometers away from the Netherlands to work just...
Yeah,
Right next to her.
Yeah, shockingly close to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all pyramids are mountains? No.
Well, I mean, you can say that all pyramids are structures that point up, as do mountains.
Yeah.
But no, not all mountains are pyramids.
No.
Oh, we're hilarious.
We're fucking hilarious.
Aw.
But yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you all so much for joining us, and a new video will be up on either Monday or Tuesday, depending on how much time I will need to, I get back to the Netherlands on Sunday, and then I will have to, prepare the next video. I wrote the script already, but I have to film and edit, and I'm probably going to be very tired. Just, I know myself.
Let's all pray
Yeah.
that Odin sleeps more than 40 minutes tonight. Okay, I mean, so far he's been sleeping, but let's just pray that he doesn't wake
It
up
was midnight.
immediately when we start
Yeah,
sleeping.
it was midnight last night when he was like, okay, y'all had fun?
Yeah,
Here's me.
yeah.
So yeah, no, we had nearly no sleep last night. So
Was Odin a Christ figure? No, he's the god of gods.
yeah,
Clearly, because I mean, if he doesn't sleep, neither do we.
no one sleeps when Odin doesn't sleep. No one feels good when Odin doesn't feel good. I mean, yeah, it's clear as that. And thank you all so much for joining us. It was really fun. People say it was gezellig.
Ah, ja.
It was very gezellig.
Thanks, Tony. Het was zeker gezellig.
Yes. And once they have their channel up and actually have a video, I will do that. Oh, to all, if the asteroid passing Earth tomorrow, December 11th, hit Earth, what effect do you think it would have? And will you
Okay,
be
so it's
watching
not
out
going
for
to
it?
hit Earth. So it's that's
We're not dying tomorrow.
how big
No,
is it? How big
it would
is
be
it?
the asteroid that ruined Christmas.
Oh yeah.
And we
Yeah.
thought
That's a
2020
good
and
movie
2020.
title, though.
And
The
to be fair,
asteroid
if
that
it would
just-
hit Earth, it will probably hit somewhere in the middle of nowhere in Russia, because I mean, it's not even likely that it will
Yeah, no.
hit necessarily. Yeah.
So yeah, no. And also, it would be a good movie title, though. Like,
Oh,
The
that
asteroid that killed Christmas.
sounds like you have something to do for Monday.
Damn it. No, I already have a video planned. But yeah, no, thank you all so much for watching.
Yeah.
And subscribe to the channel.
Tusen
Leave a
tak.
like. Yes.
It's Swedish and Dutch, dankjewel. Oh, I like that.
Yeah. And you all have a great day, evening, or night, wherever you are in the world. And I will see you in the next video.
Yeah. Thanks
Bye,
everyone.
guys.
Hey, do.
Hey, bye bye.